I'm James Brierton. It is Sunday, May 1st, 2022. It is 3:50, and we are watching a few scattered severe thunderstorms throughout the Carolinas. I should say right off the bat right now, we don't have any tornado warnings to tell you about. And I know that's so often the reason why we come on live with you on the Carolina Weather Net. But because we're watching so many of these storms scattered throughout the area right now, we wanted to come on and kind of just update you and give you the lay of the land. So first and foremost, let me just tell you, we have a severe thunderstorm watch that is in effect until 9 o'clock, and it's essentially along I-40 in the foothills. It's north of Charlotte. It does extend through the Raleigh area and almost up to Richmond, Virginia, and even into the Roanoke, Virginia area. So all in all, through here until 9 p.m. tonight, we have that severe thunderstorm watch. We have conditions primed for the possibility that some of these storms could produce severe weather, with the primary threat being damaging wind, followed by hail. Can't rule out the chance for an isolated shower can't rule out the chance for a tornado associated with some of these scattered storms. We do have our own Dan Whitaker, who is out on the road, waiting for him to get dialed on in, and he's going to be storm chasing up in this area, because if we switch this on over to the Roanoke area, let's just start talking about some of the warnings that are out there. First and foremost, we don't have a warning active at this time for Greensboro. We did have a big bulky multi-county polygon not too long ago that was for Guilford County and a couple surrounding counties, but you can still see we've got some heavy rain, we've got some thunder, we even have some reports of pea-sized hail coming right now into the Greensboro area. So let's go on over to our weather stem camera that is in that Greensboro area and see exactly what this might look like on the ground, starting first with this camera. This is a gorgeous shot. Take a look at this right now, live from Greensboro, North Carolina. Again, we don't have a warning in this location, but you can actually see the rain on the camera. You can see the rain shaft out in the distance where a lot of that rain is coming on down, and of course, the dark clouds. We'll keep a close eye on this camera and a few other cameras throughout the area to see if we can see maybe any hail, but more likely the chance that we could be seeing some of the hail, and we'll watch for that here in the next little bit. Another angle right now from the Guilford County Emergency Management. You can see, again, we're not really expecting anything to be rotating. You can certainly see some of the cloud structures there. Nothing from a tornado standpoint of any concern, but we are watching. You can see in the far distance where there's likely rain coming down and producing that decreased visibility. Again, this is in that Greensboro area. Let's take you back out now to our double box, because I want to show you, if we do just slide up to the north and to the east of there near Yanceyville, this is a severe thunderstorm warning that the Weather Service has issued because they are tracking a storm right now located near Camp Springs, moving east at 20 miles an hour. The threat with this, as is with most severe thunderstorm warnings, 60-mile-hour winds that could produce some damage, along with quarter-size hail. Those two characteristics are the base bone for any sort of severe thunderstorm warning. That is what is required before any sort of warning is issued. One of those two things. Again, that's quarter-size hail, hail the size of a quarter, or 60-mile-per-hour winds. I'm going to leave this on your screen for just a moment. I'm realizing here at 3:52 we should throw a link up on our Facebook and our Twitter. Let people know that we're live. So bear with me here just a second while I do that. You can do that as well too. Maybe you can share it to some friends who are in this area or other parts of the Carolinas. And they can hop on over here on our YouTube page and find out exactly what's going on. We're tracking some of these severe thunderstorms across portions of North Carolina and South Carolina, and we're streaming on our YouTube channel where you can join the live chat. Okay, great. We'll get that going here. Again, if you know anybody you want to share that with, we certainly do appreciate that. We will pop on to Facebook and Twitter and Twitch if we get any sort of tornado warnings. That tends to be our protocol, is that if we have anything that is imminently life-threatening like a tornado warning, we'll bring in the whole gamut of our pages and our suites. But right now, we're just watching severe thunderstorm warnings, so we're just going to stay here on the Carolina Weather Net on YouTube. And again, the severe thunderstorm warnings are capable of producing damage, so I don't want to make light of the situation at all, but we will bring in additional channels if we need to. But again, here's a live look right now. Guilford County Emergency Management. We don't have that severe thunderstorm warning, but we do have a thunderstorm rolling through Greensboro right now. And anytime you have a thunderstorm, it is capable of producing life-threatening lightning. So anytime you hear thunder, anytime you see lightning, head inside. Do not wait for the weather radio to go off or for the weather app to notify you of a severe thunderstorm warning. Lightning and thunder have nothing to do with the Weather Service criteria for a warning, and so that only comes out for wind and for hail. So lightning is something you have to be proactive on all on your own. Don't wait for the Weather Service to warn for it. All right, let's move here to the I-77 corridor coming just south of Mount Airy. Coming through portions of North Wilkesboro. Going to be coming into Booneville, Yadkinville, Pilot Mountain here in the next little bit. This is a severe thunderstorm warning that is in effect for the next 50 minutes. It goes for Surry, Wilkes, and Yadkin counties. The Weather Service continuing to track this line of thunderstorms near Trap Hill, near Millers Creek, moving east at 30 miles an hour with winds 60 miles per hour, quarter-size hail. There's that theme, of course, right? So again, those locations are Mount Airy, North Wilkesboro, Elkin, Wilkesboro, Fairview, Jonesboro, and Dotson. And we can actually see this line has a little bit of a curve to it. So this is going to be moving on this way. And so we're kind of watching for that wall of wind associated not only with this thunderstorm capable of producing what looks to be very heavy rain, good cluster of lightning you can see here on our radar scope app. But if we switch this over to look at velocity, you can actually get an idea of what some of the wind measurements are here. Again, the Weather Service has that warning out for the chance of 60 mile per hour winds, and the radar estimates showing 35. This is going to be, again, also in the 30s. And let's see what it's over like here. Right, oh yeah, that was a 40 mile per hour winds. That's pretty gusty, pretty windy. Certainly enough to move some furniture around your outdoors, your umbrellas, your patio chairs, and the like. And you'll notice that right here in Wilkesboro is kind of where the strongest of those winds are. And it's because if I switch it back over, it's a little bit easier to see. It's right here on the leading edge. Right here on the leading edge of the storm, right where it curves, that's where we are going to see some of those heaviest rain, heaviest wind gusts associated with that. Now, again, today's setup, it's possible. It's possible we could see a tornado or two, and there's definitely some areas of this storm where winds are moving in opposite directions. You can see that outlined here with the little cluster of red, the little cluster of green, but there's nothing on this radar scan right now that has me all too worried. You can see a little bit maybe trying here near White Plains, but not enough to quite prompt any sort of tornado precautions at this point. But remember, wind is wind, so can't hear anything, just my mouth moving. All right, hang on here a second. One, two, three, four, five. Guess sure about that? Sherry says she's not hearing anything. Matthew, are you able to hear me? Here. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we got sound coming through. Okay. All right, Matthew says, how do I have a severe thunderstorm warning in North Carolina? Where you're in Surry County. All right, so perfect. You're in Surry, North Carolina. Apologies for tapping county onto that as I'm moving between screens here. But yeah, you got Surry, you got Wilkes, you got Yadkin County. That's where you are, Matthew. So yeah, so the chance of seeing severe weather here is really for the risk of 60 mile per hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. This is, again, moving east at about 30 miles an hour, and we can actually put the radar into motion here a little bit, and we can get an idea of the direction that this is headed. Let's switch back over, look at the heavy rains here, right? So, again, we're watching kind of this trailing edge here. Our motion is continuing off to the north and to the east, and I would imagine you're getting lots of lightning. But again, the reason that you have that severe thunderstorm warning right now is for the threat of that quarter-size hail. Here is half-inch size hail, and a quarter would be about an inch. So what the Weather Service is watching for, again, is for that continued threat. This is a strong thunderstorm. If we switch this over here to try to get an idea of maybe where some of the hail core is, And let me double check. I know Sherry says she's still having problems hearing us. The sound seems to be good on our side. Matthew, you can hear us, right? Okay. So what we're looking at right now, Matthew, on the Roanoke radar is where the radar thinks some of that heaviest hail is. And so what probably happened is that that warning probably went out right about in here. And you can see right where it's got these white clusters, pretty good size hail probability right on in here. Matter of fact, we did get that hail report verified just to the east of there as this continued off to the east. You can see, again, this is where the radar thinks we have those hail balls. I'm glad you can hear me, Matthew. Thank you for that confirmation. So that's kind of what the Weather Service is looking at when they go ahead and they issue this. Now, again, you are asking about, you hope it doesn't turn into a tornado, and I think most likely it's not going to. We have a 2% chance of a tornado in this neck of the woods today, and so we'll be watching for some of the areas where the winds will try to commingle like they are here, but nothing tight enough right now, nothing bright enough on radar that would make me too concerned about that. Matthew, we'll come back over to this in just a moment, so stay with us there in Surrey County. And we're going to check some of the other storms that are happening right now because we have a number of these, and I want to make sure we're getting everybody a little attention here. So moving down towards the Charlotte area, we do have a severe thunderstorm warning for portions of York County. I'm going to go ahead and turn off these special weather statements so we don't get too confused, and we'll switch this over to look at the Greenville-Spartanburg radar perspective. So city of York, McConnells, Sharon, not quite into Rock Hill yet, but we'll see if this continues off to the east. This goes for another half an hour or so. Severe thunderstorm located 11 miles southwest of York and Sharon, like we were just talking about. There's that hazard again for 60-mile-per-hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. And what we are looking for here is as this moves off to the north and to the east, let's check our winds, our radar estimated winds here. And I'm going to play it back here a little bit and try to see exactly what the Weather Service was seeing. I don't see anything on the wind profile that seems all that windy, so let's check hail. Let's see what they are seeing with regards to hail. Yeah, so exactly, there we go. So you can see down here in York County right now, this is the same radar type signature that produced that half-inch size hail report up in your neck of the woods, Matthew. So the folks of York County right now, be curious to see if we had anybody out there who would be able to verify whether or not this is producing hail that could be coming into McConnells here in the next few minutes. Again, we switch this back over to look at the heavy rains. We'll put it into motion, kind of get a little bit of that storm track going. And you can see as this moves off to the north and to the east that if they were to continue it, it would be coming into the city of Rock Hill next. We have a little bit of time before it's into the city of Rock Hill. And again, this is just a severe thunderstorm warning. And I say just because so oftentimes severe weather coverage is prompted for tornado warning. But wind is certainly wind. And so we don't want to shrug off the possibility that we could get some wind damage reports associated with that. I'm going to check our Carolina WeatherNet audio. Maybe that's... No, we're getting audio there too, so that's good. And I think the folks who are watching us right now on the Carolina WeatherNet, which is our continuous feed, we're going to need to get you a live chat probably turned on. It doesn't look like maybe that's turned on just yet. So let me go ahead and pop on over here to the YouTube console and make sure that our Carolina WeatherNet does have the ability for you all to be chatting with me and asking your questions as we are now coming up to just past the 4 o'clock hour. And we're watching the strong storms that are being produced across portions of the Carolinas. And again, we don't have any tornado warnings that we need to worry about, but what we do have is the possibility for damaging winds and hail. And we are seeing some of that hail verify, right? So the National Weather Service showing us here on our radar scope that they did in fact have some hail reports coming in. Again, half-inch size here in Surrey County. We had a couple more now, as I'm realizing, kind of back towards North Wilkesboro, quarter-inch size hail reports that came in. We were talking earlier when we started our coverage about Greensboro. You also had between a quarter and half-inch size hail there, and so we are seeing across the Carolinas that possibility, excuse me, for some of that hail. All right, folks, on the Carolina WeatherNet, I'm seeing some of your comments now. Rain just started in Wingate. I think I got that right. I always want to say Wingate, but I'm pretty sure it's Wingate. And so, yeah, certainly, Carr, if you're still with us, you can see that right on in here. This is where this is, folks, and it's just to the east of Monroe, to the southeast of Charlotte, and you can see some of that heavy rain. I would imagine right now a sky cam looking from Monroe, probably getting lots of good lightning here across the southern portions of unincorporated Union County down towards SARS as this strong thunderstorm. It is not severe, is continuing to move through portions of Union County. We'll switch on over to the terminal Doppler radar, take a look at some of the winds. Again, we are seeing breezy conditions, 20-mile-per-hour winds, not too strong, not too severe, and let's check, not overwhelming reflectivity on the integrated liquid, which is what how radar can be used to determine whether or not we're getting any hail. But that terminal Doppler looking out from the Charlotte area does kind of see the possibility for some hail associated with that severe thunderstorm. Notice the severe thunderstorm over York County. That's got the yellows. The rain back over Monroe, we're just into blues, we're just into greens. Not enough hail threat there to produce any sort of warning. Would be kind of curious to see Clover here in York County, not quite in the warning for that severe thunderstorm, but we can see pockets of hail possibility associated with that. So we'll see what the Weather Service decides to do. Again, Rock Hill not inside that severe thunderstorm warning, but we do have a camera there from our friends at WeatherStem, and you can see that severe thunderstorm warning just off to the right-hand side of the screen. You can see the skies are darkening there in Rock Hill as this thunderstorm begins to push on in. All right, so we have a question about Leesburg. So let's take a look at Leesburg, and thank you so much for watching us here on YouTube as we are continuing to watch some of these storms roll on through the area. So Leesburg, we're going to take us back up here, and let's switch on over to our Raleigh radar. And let's see, we are just going to be right. Leesburg is going to be between Roxborough and Yanceyville. So you are right now, if I've got my bearings right on the edge of this current severe thunderstorm warning. So this current severe thunderstorm warning goes only for 8 more minutes for portions of Caswell County. 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail was the threat. And if I were to look at the winds, we have some embedded winds of 20, 25 miles an hour according to radar indications. But again, I think the name of the game today is going to be hail. So if we switch this back over to hail and look at this particular cell here off to the south, because I think that's maybe where the threat's going to be moving forward. If I play the radar back in time, yeah, so you can see what they did was the National Weather Service saw this and issued this warning downstream. And you can see that when we had the reds, again, this is the radar tracking ice crystals, possibility of hail inside of here. You can see we did get some hail reports on the ground for 1-inch size hail. And so then as this thunderstorm continued off this way, they moved the yellow polygon to show that continued threat. Now, what could happen, and we'll have to wait to see what the Weather Service does, but if this is where the hail threat maintains, yes, I think it's possible that Leesburg and Roxborough could see some hail associated with this thunderstorm in the next little bit. So if you were thinking about maybe moving the car into the garage or under the carport, you have probably just a few minutes left to do that, but I wouldn't wait too long because of the hail. But really what I'd be concerned about is if you were trying to move anything about, it's the lightning. Lightning can strike further away from a storm. And so I would be worried that if you waited too long, you could potentially run into some lightning. Let's punch back over here. This is back over to York County, South Carolina. Now, I want to show this to you because I want you to know that right there on the screen, that's not a tornado. That's just called Scud. And it oftentimes can be confused for tornadic activity. But that's just Scud. And so if you see anything like that, it's not rotating, it's not in a column, it's just kind of a lowering there. But we did get some lightning that the camera here in York County is looking at. I believe that is what that flashing is trying to handle. And that is associated now back over in York County, South Carolina. That camera is right here, and it was looking right at this guy. Right here, south of Rock Hill, near Leslie. That is what this storm is. All right, I'm going to stand by for me for just a second. I'm going to make a call over to our storm chaser, Dan Whitaker, and I want to see if he can hop on in to update us on what he's seeing, because I suspect he is out towards that Yanceyville storm, if I had to guess. So let me get him on the line, and I'm going to leave you guys with radar for just a second. Don't go far. But I just want to see if I can place a quick call to him, see if he can dial in to join us here on the Carolina Weather Group YouTube, and maybe get some on-the-ground perspective from him. And so we're going to just leave this radar up just like this for just a moment. Again, we're watching a few severe thunderstorm warnings across the area. No tornado warnings to tell you about. We're going to take a quick 2-minute break. I'm going to make a quick phone call to our storm chaser, and we will continue on the other side. Right. What do you guys think? Should we leave the music going? It's 4:12. James Brierton with you live on the Carolina Weather Net here on YouTube. Thanks so much for joining us. Our storm chaser, Dan Whitaker, hopefully will join us here shortly. He's out trying to find some of this hail we've been telling you about. So we have 2 active severe thunderstorm warnings right now to tell you about, and you can see them up on your screen. We got Matthew watching on YouTube right now, and this severe thunderstorm warning goes for another half an hour for portions of Surry, Wilk, and Yadkin counties. And then we also have a severe thunderstorm warning right now in York County, South Carolina, that goes for another 17 minutes. We have other scattered storms throughout the Carolinas that are capable of producing lightning and thunder. So if you're outside and you hear thunder, you see lightning, head inside. Again, don't wait for that warning to come out, because no amount of lightning, no amount of thunder is ever going to prompt the Weather Service to issue a warning. Warning's only going to come out for damaging hail, damaging wind, and of course, if there was a tornado associated with any of these. There are not. You can see the latest warning scrolling at the bottom of your screen. So here's what we're looking at right now. This is the outlook from the Storm Prediction Center. And you can see most of the Carolinas are at least in a dark green. Dark green is a tier 1 out of 5 for a marginal risk of seeing severe weather. And what they mean by that is the chance of seeing damaging wind, or again, really what the name of the game today seems to be is more so in the more so in the hail camp, right? We've been seeing some of those initial storm reports coming back in, showing us that they were seeing quarter, half-inch size hail. We haven't seen any confirmed reports just yet of 1-inch size hail, but that is what prompts the National Weather Service to issue the severe thunderstorm warning. That yellow area is a slight risk. That's a tier 2 out of 5. We have a better chance of seeing stronger storms there associated kind of with a boundary that's set up with a stalled front. This is all kind of popping off because we got a stalled front over the Carolinas. We got a cold front moving on in, and those two air masses, they're not quite friends. They're not quite getting along. But again, let me break this down for you. We have a 2% chance of seeing a tornado. You can see it right there on your screen. That 2% chance of seeing a tornado is north of I-40. And you can see it lines up real well with where the Weather Service has placed that slight risk. So it's not impossible, but not likely that I would see a tornado here today in Charlotte. What all of us are watching for is that possibility of damaging winds. 5% chance of seeing damaging winds, 15% higher in the northern portions of North Carolina along that Virginia border. Again, you're not seeing much of a threat here in the next few hours along the coastal area. I'll show you that in just a moment. But the wind threat, very similar to the hail threat. 15% chance, 5% chance. The wind and the hail are really the name of the game. For the coast, you'll watch for a few periods of heavy rain, a few rumbles of thunder possible as we head on through the overnight hours into tomorrow. Matter of fact, if I show you the futurecast right now, let's pop that up on the screen, and we can kind of show you. This is more or less where we're at right now. And you can see as we go on through the next couple hours, there'll be another round coming through the Greensboro, Winston-Salem triad area. Matter of fact, that's the severe thunderstorm warning over Surrey County right now. That will push along the I-40, I-85 corridor. Rumbles of thunder still 4 hours from now coming through kind of the greater triangle area. I know we had a viewer near Roxborough and Leesburg earlier, so we're watching for the continued on and off threat of thunderstorms as we head on through the overnight hours. Now, the Futurecast is still trying to actually do more storms, kind of training back over the same area, that broader I-40 corridor as we go on through the overnight hours. Now, what's really interesting to me, as we look at the latest Futurecast, it's the HRRR run that's currently coming in, is this very first frame shows lots of little storms over portions of upstate South Carolina, right? Which really does kind of align with what we're seeing right now on radar, where we do have that severe thunderstorm warning right now for York County. But then as we go on through the remaining hours, they're just gone off of the Futurecast. And why that's interesting to me is because when you think about where the Storm Prediction Center put their threat, right? Their main threat is along the North Carolina and Virginia border. I was not really even anticipating getting any rain where I am in South Charlotte near Matthews, not too far from the Union County line. We did get a little bit of a sprinkle. And then as we began to see some of these other storms, right, these other storms pushing up on the radar right now, this is live radar, from portions of South Carolina, even prompting the Weather Service to issue that severe thunderstorm warning, I thought to myself, well, maybe we are going to get a little bit more rain here in Charlotte than I thought. Again, most of the instability, most of the thunderstorm fuel is still up to the north. So we don't have to worry too much about the severe threat here in Charlotte where I am. But again, I think we might just get more rain than I was initially anticipating. So that's interesting. All right, checking the chat here, seeing what we got going on. Appreciate everybody who's been sharing this out as well. Asking about some other states. Right now, Carolina Weather Group, we're keeping our eyes on North Carolina and South Carolina. And but we do appreciate you checking in with us. We'll check. We have a couple different streams going here and bouncing between different chats, but we do appreciate you guys being with us. Again, the latest warning scrolling at the bottom of your screen as we get them in from the National Weather Service. I do also have access to the Weather Service chat, and that's where the Weather Service can tell us things. So again, we don't have much of a storm threat, but I can see in here, for instance, the National Weather Service is saying, hey, on Monday, there's going to be a moderate rip current risk for Cape Hatteras from Surf City, low threat from Duck down to Cape Hatteras. So we're watching some of those things as well, too. The Weather Service here, let me read a couple things real fast to see what I can regurgitate back out to you. Right, so the Weather Service is acknowledging some of these warnings, right? A lot of the hail threat is out there. We're looking for ground truth. Weather Service is saying, hey, If you got hail, you got damaging wind, let them know. You can tweet them using hashtag NCWX, hashtag SCWX. The Weather Service is saying a lot of these are verifying so far, but they're looking for more storm reports, especially over portions of upstate South Carolina. So that kind of fits what we were talking about before, right? So we were talking about, let's make the radar here a little bit bigger. No one needs to see my face. we find the right layout that we're all going to like, because if I make this a little bit bigger here, there we go. Right, so we were talking a little while ago about the fact that this severe thunderstorm warning over York County had the possibility of producing hail, right? We were seeing hail. This is, again, that hail parameter. You can actually see maybe even over portions of the border with Chester County, a little bit of the current hail threat. But the Weather Service issued the warning somewhere back in about here, because you could see right on in there, right? Two good kind of clusters for the potential of hail. But we haven't yet seen any sort of those circles on the screen to say, yes, you all at home living in this area have confirmed whether or not the hail fell, which is a part of what the Weather Service has to do. They can't just issue these things and call it a day. They want to actually get some ground truth, right? Those are the storm spotters that are so essential. But this is kind of a rural area, so it's hard to know whether or not there's just nothing to report or there's no one there to report it, which is what the Weather Service is talking about when they're asking for a little help with ground truth. So if you know of anything, can put it in chat. You can tweet them. They'll certainly take the assistance. We did get here a few moments ago a storm report in Guilford County. Weather Service confirming quarter-size hail. That's 1-inch size hail, the size of a quarter. They reviewed a picture that was sent to them on social media, and it is in Monticello, and that would be in Guilford County, and that's right on up in here. And so if we play the radar on back to about 315. Yeah, let me show you what 1-inch sized hail looks like on radar, because again, remember, that is the criteria that is needed as a basis for issuing a severe thunderstorm warning. It's quarter size hail, 1-inch size hail, the size of a quarter. And it would be right here, right? So this is 315. That was 315. We got hail on the left. I'm loading up rain on the right. And you can see right on, why does that not want to hold? Right on in there in the whites, that was 1-inch size hail over portions of northeast Guilford County, again, about the 3 o'clock hour. And so that is what the Weather Service considers a W. It verified. They issued a warning. And lo and behold, we've got some ground truth. Those are all the little circles here. These are all these little circles, 3 circles here, are people confirming that they saw hail on the ground. Coming back out now to real-time radar. And looking around right now, I wouldn't be surprised. Matthew, are you still with us in chat? You have anything to report from Surrey County? We're watching lots of lightning. I mean, it's not white, but I would say 1/2-inch size hail possible here in Elkin right now, associated with this severe thunderstorm that is rolling on through. And if we switch this back over, let's look at winds. Oh, interesting. Little red riding in there. So you can actually see, if you watch this again, the greens are going this way. The red's going that way. We're going to keep a close eye on that. See what the Weather Service decides to do. 30-mile-per-hour winds. It is kind of... Watch to see if that's going to try to rotate a little bit. Let's switch it over to reflectivity. I was trying to look to see if there was any sort of airflow coming into this or not. We'll keep a close eye on that. This would be the National Weather Service out of Roanoke. And one way or the other, this is moving off to the northeast. You're going to get heavy rain. You're going to get wind and the possibility of hail here in the next little bit. Got a question in from ATR Media watching on YouTube. How long will the storms last in upstate South Carolina, and do you think more storms will build up that way? I think that's the million-dollar question we were just trying to kind of get a grasp on a moment ago, because I think the storm threat, first and foremost, for anybody north of that area, is going to continue through about the 9 o'clock hour. A little too broad. Let me circle this again. Right on up through here. From Boone, Hickory, Morganton, Monroe, to that east along the I-40 corridor, through the Triad, through the Triangle, you have a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 o'clock. So that storm threat is definitely there through 9 o'clock. For upstate South Carolina, we can see we've got a lot of activity right on in here. This is slowly moving off to the north and east. I would say it's even a bit more than I was anticipating when I looked at the forecast this morning. If I go back over to the latest HRRR run, then we'll see that the model run is not trying to put anything else back across that area, whereas we could get maybe a little bit more, again, along that I-40 corridor later. We'll see. We'll see. It's certainly quiet right now across portions of the upstate. And so it's interesting. They just canceled this warning. This warning is going to disappear here. Weather Service is letting that go. Is that right? Their Weather Service is letting that go. Yeah, they expired the severe thunderstorm warning for York, but they did just get their ground truth of 1-inch size hail at 3:54 over portions of Sharon. So, per our conversation from a few minutes ago, somebody did help them verify. A little bit more specific on your question here, ATR. Lawrence, South Carolina, do you think we could see something a little bit later? So let's look real fast. I don't want to say no, but let's look. And I'll pinpoint for you on the Futurecast where you are, and we'll give you the best answer that we possibly can. So go ahead and put that on the air for us. This is the HRRR model run. And so this is kind of real time. Right about there is where we are right now. And again, see, it's trying to get rid of a lot of that activity across the upstate of South Carolina. But I'm confused on how we go from this to that so quickly. We go from lots of little popcorn cells to nothing in an hour. Unless, there is just the potential of having less ingredients and less to work with in the atmosphere. The reason we're going to potentially have to keep watching everybody later is you see right down in here, you see across the mountains there, all the way from Pennsylvania through West Virginia, Virginia border, North Carolina, and Tennessee. This is the actual storms ahead of the front. So you can see that even what is 8 hours from now, we're still watching storms coming through Boone, Blowing Rock, the Triad, and then it doesn't actually clear out. It's not until 12 hours from now, 11 hours from now, until the I-77 corridor is in the clear. So, ATR, I don't think you're going to get any strong storms, but I don't want to say that you're going to get absolutely nothing either, because, matter of fact, if we switch back over right now, the Weather Service has let this one polygon go, but I'm just being notified that they have a new severe thunderstorm warning that is going to go up right on in here. So they canceled the one and they issued a new one because of the way they had to draw it in their system. It's technically a new warning, but I think you and I can argue it's the same storm. And this is going to be for the threat of 60-mile-per-hour wind and 1-inch size hail the size of a quarter. We're in an interesting place here. So we actually have 3 different radars to work with. I'm going to quickly bounce between these before taking you to a live picture of the storm. Yeah, see, look at this hail. This is why this storm is getting renewed. You're going to have a polygon up here in a second. And this is going to slide right up and towards the southern portions of the city of Rock Hill and Leslie into that I-77 corridor. Let's see. That's the hail from the Greensboro perspective, hail from the Columbia perspective. That pretty much verifies. Terminal Doppler, what's your ability to see hail? Not too bad. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we start to see some hail here on our City of Rock Hill camera, which obviously I need to punch up on the screen right now. Here it comes. So here's a live look at where this latest severe thunderstorm warning has been issued. We'll come back to this camera in a few minutes. And while we wait for the storm to kind of get into position and be a little less camera shy, I was bouncing back up here to this storm because I was still watching where the reds and the greens were coming together a little bit here north of Booneville on whether or not it was going to be able to rotate enough to warrant any sort of, but no, not yet. Lots of lightning, and again, lots of hail. So this is right along I-77. I'm way north now in North Carolina, almost into Virginia. Portions of Surry, Wilkes, and Yadkin counties, just north of Booneville. I mean, this is where the hail's at. All right. So we're gonna leave this like this here just for a moment. And I am rocking this coverage solo with you here. Salty is dumb. That's what it says. Salty like from Blue's Clues or... Anyway. Should I expect showers in Stanley County? Yes. That's a yes. We're watching right now what's coming across portions of southern Meck, York, and Union counties. Even a pea-sized hail right now in the Ballantine area of Mecklenburg County. So, yes, Stanley County, we'll watch for this to kind of move up your way here in the next little bit. And report from Leesburg. Sassy says, we've got rain and lightning and thunder. That makes sense. That makes sense. Based on what we were seeing up here earlier. All right, I got to check the messages on my phone real fast to make sure everyone is in position and is good at here and the day job. Don't go far. Take a potty break, grab some water, and I'll be back with you in just a second. Thanks for the intermission. It's gonna come about from time to time here as I continue to rock this coverage solo for now, and need to make sure everyone is good here and everyone is good at the day job. Is that Fluffy Wolf Lover? I think that's what that says. Welcome to the channel. Thanks so much for subscribing, and also want to give a shout out to one of our super friends, Noah Weather Radio Man. Sent us this nice tweet saying, glad your TV channel went live. Checked it out. Super excited y'all are back for everyday Weather Channel like streaming. Just got to say, I've watched the channel since it started, and I love the content. Noah Weather Radio Man watches a lot of what we call the Carolina Weather Net, which streams continuously on YouTube and shows the best of our weekly show, the Carolina Weather Group, alongside real-time weather conditions and alerts, and then obviously we pop on to do coverage just like this. So yeah, we try to rock that as often as we can. We still got more we want to do with the Carolina Weather Net. We still got some kinks we want to work out, but so glad you enjoyed that, and I'm so glad you're sharing it with others, because yeah, you can watch it for free any place you watch YouTube on your smartphone, your smart TV. You can just pop it on, and it's local weather all the time. It's great for what we like to call the Carolina Weather Groupies. All right, so while we were away, we did get a new severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Union County. This does include portions of Wingate and Marshville. This is a pretty small sliver, but don't be misled by that. It's more of a jurisdiction, political boundary thing, because when it slides off to the east, the National Weather Service in Raleigh will have to take it over, as opposed to the National Weather Service here in Greenville, Spartanburg. This goes until 5 o'clock. A storm located 11 miles southeast of Monroe. Okay, we just said the storm's located south of Marshville. Okay. It's moving to the east at 30 miles an hour, 60-mile-per-hour wind gust, quarter-size hail. Again, that means minor hail damage to vehicles is expected, with wind damage to trees and power lines possible. Wingate, Marshville. Let us... Boy, this is starting to get into which radar do you want to use game. But I'm going to guess this is for hail, right? So if I switch this on over, yeah, you can see a little bit there on the Raleigh radar, a little bit there on the terminal Doppler radar from the Charlotte perspective. I'm still watching closely that York County storm, because that could be dumping 1-inch size hail in front of our camera in not too long. Let's check our Columbia perspective. Our Columbia perspective, oh no, this is interesting, because it's trying to do hail here where it's warned, here where it's warned, here where it's not warned. And I would be very curious to see whether or not the Weather Service... So we've got pea-size hail being reported right now in Pineville, Ballantyne, southern Mecklenburg County, right there along that state line. And pea-size hail is not enough for a warning. Okay? Not enough for a warning. But that is such a populated area, I'd be very curious to see if we get additional storm reports coming in on that. We'll watch to see what the Weather Service does. Let's stick with the Columbia radar on that. Now, I know we were also watching this other storm up near Surrey County. The hail is now below that 1-inch criteria. It is no longer warned. Still producing lots of heavy rain, lots of lightning. We are getting some verified storm reports in of 1/4-inch size hail in Birch, North Carolina, in the last 30 minutes or so. 7/8, 3/4-inch size hail here 2 miles from State Road. It just said State Road. Did it give me a number? Didn't give me a number. Let's just say north of Elkin, shall we? So we'll watch that as it continues to go through Surrey County and into portions of Pilot Mountain, because we were watching... I was trying to see whether or not... Yeah, okay, I don't see the rotation with that storm anymore, so that's good news. That's good news. And we also no longer have a warning in the Yanceyville, Rockborough area. So that's interesting as well, too. We don't have any other warnings. So we only have right now 2 warnings. They're in the Charlotte metro area. One's in York County, South Carolina, and one is in Union County, North Carolina. Here is a look at that South Carolina camera from the city of Rock Hill, courtesy of SCE TV and WeatherStep. And I will also just say, I'm in this area. So if pea-size hail slides on over here through portions of southern Mech, we'll know. We will certainly know. All right, 4:39. 4:39 is the time. And let me use a couple of devices here to check whether or not we have any new comments coming in from those of you watching on YouTube. Shameless promotion, if you haven't already. And you can give this a share. We do appreciate that very much. And let folks know what might be coming their way. If you know anybody who lives, again, in portions of North Carolina, and as we're seeing, portions of upstate, kind of Sandhills, South Carolina, we have not had any warnings in South Carolina further south than what you're currently seeing. Yes, we have a few heavy showers, a few rumbles of thunder back across the Columbia area, but I just don't think there's enough to really work with there in terms of the atmosphere. I can tell you we're getting lightning and thunder here in southern Mech because I'm hearing it. And I think I could be putting in an MPing report here shortly, which is one of the ways you can send the Weather Service information. Say this was an MPing report of pea-size hail. I think we'll keep rocking the Columbia radar perspective on this. And we'll keep a close eye on our SCETV camera there in Rock Hill. This camera is on the northern side of Rock Hill. But you can see right now, the rain is picking up. Visibility in the distance is decreasing. This severe thunderstorm warning making its way now through portions of the city of Rock Hill, along that I-77 corridor down through the Chester border. This will move into Leslie in the next few minutes. Would expect to see heavy rain, lightning, and hail associated right now with this storm that is currently moving through portions of southern York County. There's no sound on this camera, but you've already been able to see in the past minute or so. Take a look at the road on the left-hand side of your screen, or even portions of the parking lot. You can see the wind driving the rain as we get a lightning strike there in the distance. This is, again, a severe thunderstorm. Severe thunderstorm warning for the city of Rock Hill and York County until 5 o'clock. And we're just going to stick with this camera for a moment. You'll see it as I see it. The bot has been blocked, I hope. Again, a couple ways you can get information to the Weather Service if you see severe weather in your neck of the woods. Hashtag NCWX, hashtag SCWX. Or you can use the MPing app. Got a picture here that I'll put on the screen in just a moment of the pea-size hail. Oh, no, let's stay with this camera for a moment. Again, you're looking live at a severe thunderstorm warning in the city of Rock Hill, South Carolina. We only have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings right now, and it's this one over portions of Chester and York County, right there along the border, including the city of Rock Hill. And this goes for another 15 minutes. And then we do have one south of Marshville in Union County. That continues until 5 o'clock as well. This heaviest rain right now coming over the South Carolina Educational Television WeatherStem camera here. You can see just in the last few moments how the rain has really picked up here and visibility has dropped way down, can no longer even see in the distance where the trees were and the parking lot. And so certainly if you're traveling right now along that I-77 corridor, this would be what you are experiencing. Again, there's no sound with this camera. And I can double box this here with you, and I can show you what the radar looks like. But I think the real show is the Skycam. You can see here in our double box, the heaviest of rain right now is going to be along that I-77 corridor. That camera's right on in here looking south. And this storm kind of really does stretch all the way back up into portions of Mecklenburg County, coming into Union County, portions of course, Lancaster County right on in here. The actual severe part is where we've got the camera, for the possibility of that hail the size of a quarter, 1-inch size hail. That's what we're keeping an eye on. That's what we're watching for. The only other severe thunderstorm warning we have to tell you about right now, again, is in portions of Union County, coming into portions of Marshville. It's going to be coming towards Polkton there in the next little bit. And I wouldn't be surprised if you start to see decreased visibility on US 74 for that storm. But right now you're continuing to look at a severe thunderstorm as it comes over the city of Rock Hill in York County. This warning goes until 5 o'clock for the possibility of 60-mile-per-hour damaging wind and quarter-size hail the size of, 1-inch size hail the size of a quarter. I am in southern Mech near Matthews, and I can now start to hear the heavy pitter-patter on my window, and I wouldn't be surprised to get some increased storm conditions here in the next few minutes. And if you guys would like, I can actually take you outside. Again, I'm rocking this coverage solo at the moment. So if I did step outside to show you some of the wind and the rain, you just have to give me about a minute to get downstairs. But I could do it if you want. Could certainly do it if you wanted. Brownie TV is asking about PTI Airport in the Piedmont Triad. And yes, you have a severe thunderstorm watch until 9 o'clock there that you're going to want to be mindful of. All right, so I think our severe thunderstorm on our Rock Hill camera is about out of view. And so what I am going to do is take this show downstairs with you guys, so I can try to give you an idea of what's happening outside my door here. I'm near Matthews in southern Mech. We don't have a warning here right now, but I think we're going to get some pretty good gusty conditions, and we'll look to see if we get penny-sized hail. So let me go ahead here and see if I can get kind of a mobile camera punched up for you all. And if I can, then we'll take this show downstairs. All right, so you're going to have to bear with me as I move downstairs, because I don't have anybody else directing. So I'll see you downstairs in just a moment here. Stay.
That's not the side I wanted to show you. All right. Hopefully you guys can see and hear me. The heaviest of the rain has just moved in here near Matthews, North Carolina. And if I move towards the light where we can get a better view of the trees, we'll wait to see exactly how breezy they get. You can see the radar on the left-hand side of your screen, right? So we've got heavy rain. This is a good afternoon thunderstorm. This is not considered severe right now where I am in southern Mecklenburg County, but this is the same storm that within the last 30 minutes brought pea-sized hail to the Ballantine area of southern Mecklenburg and South Charlotte. We have those two severe thunderstorm warnings still on your screen. One is exiting the I-77 corridor in southern portions of York County, and one is exiting eastern Union County. Both of those are primarily for the threat of hail, about 1-inch size hail. Got a little lightning and thunder associated with the storm now that is moving through portions of South Charlotte. Again, the nearest landmarker for me on the radar is in Matthews, where some of the darkest of the reds are now moving on through onto that radar there. What I'm really interested to see is whether or not we get any of that pea-sized hail here in Matthews, because this would more or less be that same portion of the storm that when it went through Ballantine brought the pea-sized hail. I'm not seeing anything of the like right now. I'm watching on our cars because I thought I saw something hit the car and bounce. And I was wondering if that was the potential for pea-sized hail. As you can tell, again, this is your run-of-the-mill thunderstorm. There is no warning here in Matthews, but as you can tell, we are getting lightning and thunder, and that's why we say if you're outdoors, you're at the ball field, or even at the beach, you hear thunder, you see lightning, head inside. Lightning is certainly a killer. And don't wait. Here's that pea-sized hail. All right, we've got the pea-sized hail now here, bouncing off the car. Don't tell my insurance company. Take a listen, see if you can hear it. We got pea-sized hail now following in Matthews, southern Mecklenburg County. Not large enough to prompt a severe thunderstorm warning. But it is in fact happening. That tells us this storm is tall enough in the atmosphere to get up to cold enough air to at least produce pea-sized hail. And it may be over already. Take a look at the wind here on the trees. This is more rain, more wind, and way more hail than I expected in southern Mecklenburg County. I was surprised when we got a drizzle before. Again, this isn't severe. This is just a strong thunderstorm, but you can see how that would have really been a bummer if you were at the ball field right now. If nothing else, it's washing the pollen off my car. I can't see chat. If you guys are talking to me right now, I appreciate it. We've got radar up for you on the left side of the screen. I'm near Matthews. Top center there on the radar. No warning here. This is not warning criteria. All right. We're going to head back upstairs, get back on mic. Hopefully you guys are able to hear me out here. If not, I'm sure I'll see a bunch of comments when we get back upstairs in just a moment. Stay with us. You're watching continuing weather coverage, streaming on the Carolina Weather Net.
All right. Hopefully you guys were able to hear me when I was down there. James Brierton with you here, streaming on the Carolina Weather Group. Let's go ahead and take this full. Hey there, ATR. Thanks for sticking with us. All right, so let's show you what we missed while we were outside. Not a whole lot, thankfully. All right, so again, I'm right on in here. And I think there's going to be more heavy rain moving on through. We have 2 warnings. One over York, one over Union County. And then these came in while I was downstairs. So let's take a look at these because we have not yet talked about these. So our storm over Surrey County, Pilot Mountain, is again severe. So this is over Pilot Mountain, coming into Danborough, King. Threat at 60 mile per hour wind, quarter-size hail. Includes Walnut Cove, Sandy Ridge, King, Pine Hill, and Pinnacle. And then this one over portions of 85-40 is for Alamance and Orange. And there's actually kind of 2 warnings on top of each other here. Burlington, Gibsonville. You're inside this warning along with Union Ridge. We're getting quarter-inch size hail associated with this storm, which also includes Burlington, Graham, Hillsborough. And that's moving off to the east as well. So that's a warning kind of square between Greensboro and the Triangle. The wind is starting to pick up here now towards Matthews, where I am. ATR is asking if there's any new shower development in upstate South Carolina. Nope, still quiet along that I-85 corridor, and I know you said I think you're down towards Lawrence. So not much. Not much to worry about there at all. Checking my messages here real fast from having been outside, making sure everybody's still good and no one's looking for me. Ooh, I think we got a super thanks at one point, and I'm not sure I acknowledged it, so my apologies. Super thanks, super chat, helps us pay for what we do here at the Carolina Weather Group, and we appreciate that support on YouTube. If you guys aren't able to give, no problem at all, but giving a share, giving a like, giving a subscribe are hugely beneficial as well. And I'm actually going to do that right now myself on our YouTube stream. I'm going to send a tweet out and make sure that people know continuing coverage of severe thunderstorms producing hail across North Carolina and South Carolina. Watch live. So yeah, if you guys are able to share it out, we appreciate that. Even if you can't give a few bucks here on YouTube, helping us reach a new audience, very beneficial. Lancaster County right now coming in with half-inch size hail associated with the same line of thunderstorms that we've been tracking here for a minute. We'll see that show up here on the screen in the next little bit. Be curious. Oh, okay, there goes the warnings for both Union and York are gone now, leaving us with Alamance, Orange, Stokes, and Surrey, which are repeated on our ticker because there's technically 2 warnings, so they each count. I don't have a camera here, unfortunately. Man, it's getting windy here in Matthews. It is getting really windy here in Matthews. That is this guy. South Charlotte, Ballantyne. Portions of Lancaster County. York County. Coming back into Union and Monroe. It's windy. It's gusty. It's not severe. It's not severe. Putting on a show nonetheless. Okay, our storm for the actual warning. For portions of Alamance and Orange County, we're seeing verification of, this might be the largest hail we've had so far today. 1.25 inch size at about 450. That was just north of the interstate between Mabon and Hay River. So this storm report would have been about 2 miles from the combined interstate of 40 and 85 at about 450. And if I switch us, obviously, to a dramatically closer radar site, and I switch this back over to hail detection, and wow, yeah, we're probably still getting hail right now. It's going to be coming into Hillsborough, coming out of Mabon here in the next little bit. But if I take this back, yeah, wow, look at those. Look at how bright that white section is over Hay River, Graham, Greenville, or Green Level, excuse me. That was the 1.25 inch size hail. And that hail core right now is moving off to the east. So if you know somebody in Hillsborough, give them a text, give them a call, let them know there's a severe thunderstorm warning coming their way with the possibility of producing 1 inch, maybe 1.25 inch size hail. And they're going to want to make sure they're inside. We'll wait to see whether or not the Weather Service extends that warning at all. Again, the name of the game today is hail. Without a doubt. Checking my messages here real fast from the Weather Service. And seeing exactly what folks may be watching beyond what I'm able to keep my eyes on as a single person. Certainly, if you've got questions, comments, concerns, you can throw them in our chat. We'll try to take a look at them. As we continue on here. All right, so the Weather Service is now considering their severe thunderstorm for Alamance and Orange until 5:30 to be what's considered observed. That 1.25 inch size hail, somebody on the ground has said, yep, the hail threat is happening for sure. The radar is nice, but those circles, those O's you see on the screen, confirming for us that this storm is in fact producing damaging hail. I got to check some work messages here real fast. Okay. All right, not a problem. All right, so right now, we've got technically 3 warnings, primarily for hail. You can see them scrolling across the bottom of your screen, right? It's portions of Alamance, Orange, Stokes, and Surrey County. Stokes and Surrey here. Coming out of Pilot Mountain, where we got a report of pea-size hail. I would be kind of curious what's going on in Stoneville. Coming up into Ridgeway, coming across that Virginia line. That looks like good hail. But, I mean, man, just outside of Durham here, we've got what probably is our biggest hail producer of the day so far. Producing what has been is at least 1.25 inch size. This is between Mabin and Hillsborough right now. Even, I mean, really, it's right on top of the interstate. It's right here. That's thunder rolling through South Charlotte, Mecklenburg County, in the Matthews area, if you just heard that. That's back on in here. We are not warned for anything here in Mecklenburg County, but I'm just going to assume my microphone picked up that rumble of thunder. We've got a huge cluster of lightning bolts being detected right now across portions of southern Meck into portions of Union County. Let me get a better radar, and then I'll just hold it still there for you for a moment. Wow. That sounded angry. Let us know in chat where you are, what you're seeing, and we'll listen to you as well here. ATR Media, hit a like, did a share. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. That's a win-win for everybody. Help get our messaging out. Help expose us to new eyeballs. Doesn't cost you a dime. We really do appreciate that very much. James Brierton, it's 5:07 on Sunday, May 1st. And we are tracking thunderstorms across the Carolinas. I mean, obviously, I'm keeping a close eye on what's happening outside my window. You can see it. You can hear it. Whether or not it causes power to flash here, we'll find out together. But I don't want to neglect this one that I can't see, that I can't hear, but on radar is putting on quite a show. And that is this guy between Mabin and Hillsborough. The warning goes for another 20 minutes. That was a power hit. Just took a power hit here in Matthews. I believe we're still on with you. Thank goodness for our non-interruptible power supply. Kicked in, bridged us right there real fast. We were talking about this storm in Alamance and Orange. That is producing hail the size of $50. That doesn't really help us. 1.25 inch size hail. And if we switch this back on over here to look at the hail view, you can see it's going to be right along the interstate. Look at this. Right on in here. And it's going to take a moment for the Weather Service to turn around those storm reports. But you can see we got a number of storm reports that came in along here. Getting a report right now from the Ballantine area here in South Charlotte that the sun is back out and things are shining and the monsoon is over. The monsoon that is coming through Southern Mech right now will bring you sunshine on the other side, I'm being told via text message. So the sun is back out in Ballantyne and Pineville, but it is continuing to pour here in Matthews. And we took at least one little power hit with at least pea-size hail where I am. We haven't checked this guy in a moment. Switch on over to our Roanoke radar. It's a little bit closer. Let that load on up. South of Danbury. Coming into Walnut Grove here in the next few minutes. This goes for 20 more minutes this morning for the chance of quarter-size, 1-inch size hail, and the hail threat is primarily right on in here, moving off to the east. So Walnut Cove, expect a little hail. Back over now towards Hillsboro. Watching for any new storm reports to come in. Let's see what the terminal Doppler radar sees. I don't know that the terminal Doppler radar is the best place to go for hail detection, but it's at least giving us a second opinion and verifying what, in fact, we are seeing there. We got any sorts of, sorry, I meant to click on velocity winds inside this storm to be concerned about. That would be a terminal. Wow. Wow. Take a look at these terminal Doppler radar indicated winds right now coming through Hillsboro. 45 mile per hour winds coming into Hillsboro right now. This is right where 85 and 40 diverge back off as you're driving into the triangle. So not only does this storm have a history of producing large hail by Carolina standards, but the wind with this is impressive as well too. Wind is what's going to bring down those trees and power lines. The hail is what's going to potentially damage windows and cars, patio furniture, and the like. Got winds on the left. We're going to put hail on the right. We have a camera down at UNC Chapel Hill, and I don't remember which way that camera faces. I'm going to look at it here in preview mode. Okay. All right. UNC Chapel Hill for you, folks. If we've got this positioned right, and I'm guessing based on what we're seeing on that camera, we should be looking north now from Chapel Hill, and you can see what I think is that severe storm out in the distance. I don't have an actual camera over Hillsboro. I will check the DOT for us in a moment. Do have a new severe thunderstorm warning to tell you about. And we're still in the broader triangle area. So this is what we were looking at a moment ago. We have a new warning down here. Silsirty, Goldston, Pittsboro. This is going to go for 50 more minutes. The threat is, you guessed it, 60 mile per hour wind gust and quarter-size hail. Pittsboro, Siller City, Goldston, Crosswinds Boating Center, Crosswinds Campground, Harper's Crossroads, Jordan Lake State Park Recreation Area, Seaforth Boat Dock. So this is Lee County. This is Chatham County. First of all, we're already on winds. So let's talk about the winds here that are about to come across US 421, 53 mile per hour winds estimated by radar. That is some of the strongest wind estimated radar we have seen so far. And we switch this on over now to look at where that hail is. And sure enough, yeah, you can see it's trying to get into the hail game as well. You can see that red there on radar as this, again, is going to be pushing off here to the east. I think Pittsburgh, you're going to be downstream of this. So if you know anybody in this area, you know somebody that's maybe at any of those recreational areas, give them a call. Same thing here in the Hillsboro area. This storm moving off to the east at 30 miles an hour has been producing and is continuing to produce impressive hail. And we can kind of see the storm, if I'm not mistaken, from our Chapel Hill camera. I'm just presuming based on context that is north direction here, and that storm is off there in the distance. So we'll keep a close eye on that. I'm going to pause for a moment and check some of your storm reports coming in. Brownie TV in the Greensboro area. 51 mile per hour gust now at Hillsboro at US 70. Thank you for helping me with that storm report. I do appreciate that, Brownie TV. 51 mile per hour. That is impressive. And so you're watching live severe weather coverage on the Carolina Weather Net from the Carolina Weather Group. I'm James Brierton. We don't have any tornado warnings. What we have are severe thunderstorm warnings capable of producing damaging winds and damaging hail. And that is the coverage that we are talking about here today. You can see right now, this is what I expected. Because you can see we have the severe thunderstorm watch box until 9 p.m. And every polygon we have right now is inside that watch box. What I was not expecting is what we saw over portions of York, Union, and Southern Meck here with storms that were either severe or on the stronger side. I wasn't expecting that. Was it ruled out from the get-go? No. Was it likely? No, that was way more rain outside of my window than I was expecting. Alamance, Orange, Stokes, you have a severe thunderstorm warning for 15 more minutes until 5:30. You can see that scrolling at the bottom of your screen. And then we have additional counties, again, in the North Carolina area. Chatham, Durham, Granville, Lee, and another section of Orange until 6 o'clock, 45 minutes from now. That's going to be this guy. Going for 45 more minutes. How long will we stay on? We're going to stay on as long as we're continuing to get storm reports, seeing storm threats. All right, so the Weather Service has had a chance now to play a little catch-up, getting more of those verified storm reports in from Hillsboro. Pea-size hail, pea-size hail, pea-size hail. Be very curious really to know what's going on. Where's my telestrator? In here, right? Because we got that 1 1/4 inch size hail report from this section earlier. You can still see on radar the white is the largest hail threat. And, oh, look at that. Okay, so the Weather Service has just extended this warning, trying to keep up with this cell. It's coming through Hillsboro right now. It's going to slide on the north side of Durham. This is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing 60 mile per hour winds and quarter size, half dollar size hail. Half dollar size hail. So again, they're sticking with the notion that this storm is one of the stronger storms. It's normally quarter size hail, but they're going with half. I don't know the last time anybody saw a half dollar size coin. I don't know when the Weather Service is going to go around updating their hail parameters. I saw a report from the Plains the other day that the storm threat was DVD size hail. First of all, that's giant. Second of all, I don't know the last time you or I saw a DVD. But nonetheless, this storm has 60 mile per hour wind gust and half dollar size hail. Talking over an inch. This is for Orange, Granville, and Durham counties until 6 o'clock. It's moving east at 25 miles an hour. It's Durham, Hillsboro, Butner, Lake Michi, Eno River State Park. So if you know anybody right now on the north side of Durham, shoot them a link. Let them know they've got really what's been the strongest thunderstorm we've had so far. No joke with some of those hail reports. So where's the back end of this? All right, salty is dumb. Starting to hear rumbles in Stanley County. Yep, so Stanley County, right on in here. What you're probably hearing is what's currently over my head. Nothing to warn about right now in the greater Charlotte area, including Stanley. Things are calming down here in Matthews, and just like I was told in Valentine, the sun is starting to come back out now. Hail threat is down. Where's my velocity? I think it's still windy out there, especially if you're down towards Monroe. 25-mile-per-hour wind gust here. It's going to be like the Sun Valley area of Union County. We'll keep an eye on that. Thanks for sticking with us, Salty is Dumb. But boy, got a lot going on from Raleigh. We got a lot going on from the Triangle to the Triad. Into portions of Danville. So right now we're looking at winds, right? So we got winds coming across US 421, 50-mile-per-hour winds north of Goldston. We're going to do a wind tour. Let's talk about the winds right now in Hillsborough along I-85. 50-mile-per-hour, 55-mile-per-hour. So again, this wind threat is really going to flirt with the north side of Durham. Really going to flirt with I-85 here. Joey says it is getting really cloudy in Hamlet. I know where that is. As a rail fan, I know where Hamlet is. It's down on in here. Checking the winds again, continuing our wind tour. So from Danbury to Danville, we've got severe thunderstorm warnings. Really even past that into South Boston on the Virginia side. And we'll keep a close eye on that. Let's switch this back on over to our hail products. And so, yeah, in Eden, look at all that. You got that white cluster right there on radar. That's hail. I mean, really, this is all the potential of hail, but that's their scale. Our scale goes from blue to green to yellow to red to purple to white. And if I slide on back down here now. Okay. Getting a little good news with the storm coming out of Hillsborough. I no longer see anything on radar that is white in terms of the hail detection. Probably still getting hail falling in Hillsborough, but it is comparatively weaker than it was before. So that's good news. I know I have a camera in Danville. Kind of wonder what traffic looks like right now coming out of Hillsborough. Now, write your state congressman or whoever. Tell them we'd love access to live DOT cameras in the state of North Carolina. Everyone else seems to be able to do it. But I will show you traffic map, latest still pictures here. So we've got lots of red on traffic conditions coming out of Graham, especially if you are trying to travel east or north into the Triangle. But let's just see here. These cameras really show us much of anything. I don't think it's going to really do it justice. But we'll click on them. See what we get. Again, these are just still pictures. It's kind of the best we can do. All right. I don't know what I was expecting, but that was underwhelming in terms of pictures. I'll pop on over to Twitter real fast, see if you guys have sent us anything here at the Carolina Weather Group, or if you sent it to hashtag NCWX to the Weather Service, or hashtag SCWX if you're in South Carolina. I'm most interested in you sharing whatever you need to share at the Weather Service so they can continue to do their warnings and storm reports. All right, I'm browsing right now. Hashtag NCWX. Browsing hashtag SCWX. Got a lot of meteorologists doing radar pictures. All right, nothing jumping out at me right now. All right, so again, let's go over to that Chapel Hill camera. Let's do that. Just look at that Chapel Hill camera. Again, it's south of our storm in Hillsborough. But I just think it's one of the better live pictures we can show you. Got lots of cameras when we get closer into the triangle. Just a little limited in its current position. There's another angle from atop the bell tower there, UNC, Chapel Hill, courtesy of Weather STEM. Love those guys. Great cameras. All right, I'm going to check in here with the National Weather Service. Hillsborough, Orange County storm report. Half-inch size hail came in about 5:15 near Hillsborough thanks to an MPing user. That's another way you can send information to the Weather Service. Download that MPing app. We used it a lot during winter weather coverage here on the Carolina Weather Group. It's a great way to send in hail reports. Lancaster County, south of Charlotte, half-inch size hail. 30-mile-per-hour wind gusts associated with that storm that came through Indian land at about 4:55, around the same time I was standing outside. Really, right now we're watching these two storms, which are a bit weaker than they have been. And then the storm back over Eden. That does still look like it's producing probably have hail falling right now in Eden, if I had to guess. This is up near the Virginia line. This is in North Carolina, Rockingham, Caswell, and in Virginia, it's the city of Danville, Pittsylvania, and Henry counties. This warning goes until 6:15. Thunderstorm capable of producing hail, as we were just detecting. It's over Eden right now, moving off to the east. So it's going to come south of Sandy Level, south of Danville. It's just going to ride that border. We do have another storm for Halifax, Virginia, the South Boston area. If you're watching from over there or thinking about doing some travel from the Carolina side of things, this goes until 6 o'clock as well. I think our storm right here for Orange, Granville, and Durham counties still right now maintaining, according to the Weather Service, that severe criteria, but it is weaker than it was by comparison. And I would even say probably the same here for our Lee and Chatham County storm. Now, that's just looking at hail. Let's not neglect the winds, which could also be fairly damaging, and I think this is probably why these warnings are still in effect. So the hail threat is coming down a bit, but we're still watching right now 55-mile-per-hour radar-detected winds coming down 85 northbound, air quotes, into portions of Durham here in the next little bit. I mean, you and I both know that's east, but so city of Durham, even outside this warning, I think you're going to get at or near those severe thunderstorm warning criteria winds. Again, you need 60-mile-per-hour wind gust for a severe thunderstorm warning, and I mean, we got radar detected 55 miles an hour winds. Same thing with our storm here that has just crossed over US 421. I think Pittsburgh in the next little bit, you're going to get 40-mile-per-hour winds. And so I wouldn't be surprised if we see tree branches and power lines maybe starting to sway and coming down here north side of Durham in the next half an hour. I don't think we have access to a camera in Durham, but I'm going to double check. Make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah, there's no camera in Durham. All right, new radar picture in. Again, you can see, I think those winds probably right now in portions of Durham, kind of creeping right on into the interchange here of 85, US 15, Route 147. And, I mean, really, I should give credit where credit's due. If we go to the terminal Doppler radar, Thing's built for winds. 55 mile per hour winds estimated by radar here. Just on the north side of the loop, on the north side of Durham. And these do extend, by the way, north through portions of Orange, Granville, and Durham counties. The wind is right on in here. That's going to certainly get your attention. Gorman, Butner, this holds together coming your way. It's even going to, it's going to catch back up with 85. 85 doing this little dip right on through here, of course. And so if this storm continues to move off to the east, I mean, boy, it would be really poorly timed if you were trying to drive right now northbound on 85 and you got it here and then got it here again. That'd be no fun. Just sampling the winds with you. 55 mile per hour radar detected. .55 seems to be the highest so far. That's windy. It's really windy, folks. All right, we're gonna hang out with you a few more minutes here as this continues to move just to the north side of Durham, and then we'll figure out what our coverage plans are for after that. Let's go ahead and put some of those bots in timeout. Salty is Dumb is asking, off topic, but what are your expectations for tropics? Two things I'll say on that. One, happy National Hurricane Preparedness Week across much of the country, including in North Carolina. South Carolina, I believe, unless I have this backwards, we'll do it June 1st, the week of June 1st, when the hurricane season kicks off. Now, Dr. Phil Klatzbach and the researchers at the Colorado State University are anticipating a above-average season. We got to wait for the National Hurricane Center to come out with theirs. But we've just done a bunch of shows on our weekly Carolina Weather Group podcast, which airs Wednesday nights, talking about tornadoes. We're about to kind of turn the page now to start talking a lot about the tropics. So it's not as off topic as you may fear. I would encourage you to check out some of our shows that will be coming up through this month into next month, Wednesday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern, here on YouTube or wherever you get your audio podcast, and we're going to be talking a lot about that. We're waiting for the Hurricane Center to come out with their outlook. We don't have any reports of tornadoes right now. We do have very gusty winds coming through the north side of Durham. But again, remember, folks, wind is wind. So whether the wind is rotating at 55 miles an hour or the wind just hits you straight on 55 miles an hour, it can still possibly take down small trees, blow around patio furniture, bring down power lines. And that's kind of what we're seeing right here on the north side of Durham associated with the severe thunderstorm warning. No tornado. We don't see anything rotating. For a tornado, we would need the green and the red to be really close together. Yes, there's green and the red on the screen, but they're way spread out. We need them right next to each other. Pretty bright. I don't want to forget about our folks who maybe live up in the Danville area. I think it's windy there, but I think this warning is primarily for the hail threat, which I would say you got twins right now in the hail game. Got one coming up US 29, and you've got another one outside of Eden, probably producing hail. As for the hail in the Durham area, that threat is not gone, but it is lower than it was, which is good because this was a storm that the Weather Service was telling us was capable of producing hail the size of a $50 size coin. It's over an inch. I would say that threat has probably come down now. We're still in the red zone, but it's that kind of white zone after it that we were worried about in terms of hail. But it's the wind. It's the wind that is causing the Weather Service right now to continue this yellow polygon for the severe thunderstorm warning. And 55 mile per hour here on the north side of Durham. I bet you it's breezy downtown Durham as well. Brownie TV has been with us for a little while on YouTube, saying little activity developing now near Boone. Take a quick look at that. We were anticipating that there could be more storms trying to go, yeah, all right. Boone and Upstate. Let's take a quick look at that. We have that on camera, so I like whenever we can put eyeballs on something. Oh, wow. Take a look at that, Brownie TV. Here's a look at Upstate and Boone, courtesy of Weather Stem. So yeah, we got what is really just a heavy shower right now. I'm not seeing any lightning being detected with that. And then of course, we've got our famous King Street camp from Resort Camps. Take you on over to that one. I'm going to take it just a beat to load. Don't go far, it's loading, I swear, I promise. So there's a live look at Boone. So we do have, and Boone's included in this, that severe thunderstorm watch box that continues until 9 o'clock. And you can see the rain coming back down now along King Street in Boone for really what is round 2 there. And so we'll keep an eye on that. But where the warning is right now is we got 3 of them. 1, 2, and 3. And I would say hail up here is the name of the game. This one's more about wind now coming through Durham. And we will switch to our terminal. I mean, you could ask for no better. You're trying to figure out wind. This is coming right at the terminal here. This is about to come right back over I-85. 57 mile per hour. And this radar built for wind so close to where this storm is, I mean, that's got to be fairly accurate. Because we're only sampling now 300-400 feet above the ground. It's not a benefit you get in a lot of places. We do see some lightning still on the screen there. Take us back down to Hamlet in just a moment, Joey. So really the wind threat right now for this severe thunderstorm for portions of Orange, Granville, and Durham counties is right along US 51 into the heart of Durham. It's kind of right on in here. Moving off to the east, about to come over to Interstate 85 again. So if you know anybody maybe going to be traveling 85 in the next little bit, give them a ring, let them know. Probably a good time to stop for dinner. Joey, watching on YouTube right now, asking about Hamlet. Do you think the storms coming towards Hamlet have severe criteria? I'm looking at radar scope, and it looks to be intensifying slightly. Hamlet is right on in here. And so we do have a strong thunderstorm off to your west. Coming out of right now, Wadesboro, Polkton, Anson County here, right? Butting up against Chesterfield County. To answer the intensity question, whether or not they're going up or they're down in terms of intensity, we'll put this into motion the next little bit here. Playing back, looking now at the Raleigh from the radar from the Raleigh perspective. Let's look at the winds. Certainly the rain is holding on. Let's look at the winds now. Again, these winds are really high up from this radar perspective. Really high up. And the same thing from the hail detection. I'm not too worried right now about these storms. Not seeing anything overwhelming in terms of hail. Checking the winds now from the terminal Doppler radar, because that's we can't get out to Hamlet at the terminal, but we can get out to Wadesboro. It's strong. It's definitely strong. We do see a little mixing of in and outflow, but again, that is so high up that I'll level with you, Joey, and you probably know this already from using radar scope. It is such a radar hole out there. It's hard to tell. I mean, you're probably the best eyes and ears for us or the Weather Service right now, since the perspective from Raleigh is 6,000 feet up in the sky, is the lowest that the radar is able to see, and a lot can happen between you and 6,000 feet up in the sky. From the Columbia perspective, it's even higher, 9,000 feet up that radar beam. So yeah, we're seeing a little green and the red kind of mingling here, but I mean, that's 9,000 feet up in the sky. So the terminal Doppler radar allows us to get to Wadesboro, and I'm glad it lets us get that far at 2,500 feet, but it doesn't have the reach to get to Hamlet. It would be at 4,000 feet if it did, but it just doesn't have the reach, which is why those of you who watch this show long enough, you know we're constantly saying we need better radar coverage for Charlotte. We need better radar coverage for this neck of the woods, for that new US 73, 74 interstate corridor. But we'll keep an eye on it. But I think you're okay, Joey. I mean, it's strong. You're going to notice it just like I noticed it when it came through Matthews, but I don't see anything right now that is overly concerning from what I can see on radar. All right, wind threat. Right now coming through Durham. You've seen that the Weather Service has expanded their severe thunderstorm warning. So it was here, and now it extends to include the city of Durham. And that's not overly surprising when you consider where we've been watching this bowing wind threat moving now to the east. Let's look at the verbiage here from the National Weather Service. The storm continues to move to the east at 30 miles an hour. Wind gust and quarter-size hail are possible. This does include portions of the Raleigh area, Durham, Wake Forest, the city, not the school, the Raleigh-Durham International Airport, Parkwood, and other portions of the Research Triangle. Caden, I see your comments. There's no tornadoes to worry about right now. We're just here to keep you informed. I know storms can be scary. They can produce a lot of anxiety, but it's knowledge and preparedness. So just hang out inside. You'll be fine. I'm not even sure where you are, but there's nothing out there for me to even worry about. There's no tornadoes in the Carolinas right now. But there does seem to be dust in my throat. Okay. So we've got this severe thunderstorm right now rolling on through portions of Durham. Let me get you a look at this on reflectivity. This is what people are used to seeing when they look at radar. This is the heavy rain that's coming on through. You can see the portions of lightning. You can see pea-sized hail here that was reported at about 5:40, about 5:37 the last few minutes or so. Let's look at the hail. Yeah, a little bit of hail, right? It kind of verifies with that storm report about pea-sized hail. I think that matches what we're seeing on radar. That's matching what an MPing user is telling us. But it's that wind. It's that wind that is causing the National Weather Service to keep this warning going. And we're going to use that terminal. We've got it. Let's use that terminal. When I say terminal Doppler radar, it's a special type of radar they put at airports to protect the terminal. And so that's a radar they've got there, and they've got in Charlotte as well, that do kind of help us with those radar holes we were talking about, but they can't do everything a full-powered radar normally does. I unfortunately don't have any streaming cameras in Durham, so if you know anybody in Durham, shoot them a text, let them know it's coming their way, ask them what's going on. Because we're watching this here. Looks like, does Duke have a camera? Not that I see. Wait, what's this? Come on, Duke University. Oh, you've got a camera, but it's for your marine location at the beach. That doesn't help me. That doesn't help me at all. All right, we'll stick with the radar. All right, so Hillsborough, you're in the clear now. You've seen the Weather Service has updated this polygon. They dropped it back off, so really what we're watching for is portions of Granville, Wake, and Durham counties as this line of severe thunderstorm wind, still strong, a little more spread out than it was. A little bit more spread out, 55 mile per hour north of Gorman, coming back over towards the interstate. You can even see a lightning strike there. In downtown Raleigh, radar estimated winds right now about 37 miles an hour. Be curious to see what the airport will start to report here. This is going to slide towards the city of Wake Forest in the next 30 or 40 minutes or so. And kind of on the northern outskirts of Raleigh, Interstate 540, technically inside this warning. But I think the winds associated with this storm are probably going to stay further to the north. Really, Raleigh, if I would say keep an eye on anything. It's the storm coming out of Pittsburgh. This is going to come towards NC State in the next 30, 45 minutes. We'll see if it holds together quite that strong. We do certainly have, again, a severe thunderstorm warning right now for the city of Durham, northern outskirts of Raleigh, and a separate one for portions of Lee and Chatham counties associated with what I think right now is primarily going to be a wind threat. Can't rule out the chance of seeing some hail, especially over Pittsburgh right now. Wouldn't be surprised if we got some verified hail reports. This image is a few minutes old, so it's probably more like in this area now, off to the east. But I think more people are going to see the wind than they will the hail. Wow, that's a radar estimated winds right now. 62 mile per hour radar estimated winds. North of US 1 and south of 64 outside of Pittsburgh. And I assume that the Weather Service will extend this. We'll wait for them to do it, but if they do, Holly Springs, Apex, City of Cary, NC State, you'd be downstream of this storm. So I would expect, right now we've got Durham under a severe thunderstorm warning. I would expect Raleigh to be under a severe thunderstorm warning and not too much longer. Brownie TV asking a good question, and I know Brownie's been keeping a close eye on Upstate. Do you think the showers behind these storms may intensify? I think it's going to be a matter of how much instability, how much fuel is left over in the atmosphere, because this first round of storms has been a little bit more intense than I initially anticipated. And so it's kind of a matter of how much is left, and I think the best way we'll be able to tell that with our nowcasting are those storms that you were watching kind of starting to develop over Upstate and the Boone area. And it's kind of like, let's see what that guy is able to work with. I mean, we're getting some lightning associated with it now, but it's really just one rogue storm. And so we'll wait to see. We had lots of questions earlier about the upstate of South Carolina. It's quiet there. We have another thunderstorm trying to get its act together over portions of southern York County. So in terms of, is there enough instability in the atmosphere to work over the same area twice? York County's trying. All right, so if you know anybody right now in the triangle, shoot them a text. Let them know we've got severe thunderstorm warnings kind of moving in. City of Durham, city of Raleigh. Going to be moving on in here in the next little bit. Appreciate you guys watching with us. Yeah, if you can share that with them, we would appreciate that. And what we're going to do is we're going to pop onto Facebook for just a moment. We had a lot of people watch us on Facebook. You guys are watching us on YouTube because you're cool. But I do want to let the Facebook folks know about these thunderstorms and then kind of invite them on over to YouTube. Just give me a second here. Just me here right now. So we're hanging out together. If you've got questions, go ahead and put them in chat. All right, Joey, so we've got a new severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Richmond, Anson. I'm going to get the exact look at that in just a moment, but I know you were asking a lot about those storms, and the Weather Service has gone ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm warning for those, so you were not wrong when you thought they were intensifying. Sometimes the Weather Service will do a little extra warning in this area because the radar is kind of hard to see. I mean, I can't speak for them, but that seems to be what happens in my opinion. But we'll take a look at that, and we'll see what's going on. But we're going to do a quick update across all of our platforms right now as we come up to 6 o'clock. So stand by while we let everybody join in. All right, it looks like we got Facebook, we got YouTube, we got Twitter, and I think Twitch is connecting right now. Hey, everybody, James Brierton with you from Charlotte, North Carolina. It is Sunday, May 1st, 2022. We're coming up to 6 p.m. on this Sunday night. We don't have any tornado warnings to tell you about, but what we've been seeing across the Carolinas is the continuation of a threat from severe thunderstorms capable of producing damaging wind and hail. So we wanted to pop onto all of our platforms right now, including Facebook, just to give everybody a brief update. We have been streaming throughout the afternoon on our YouTube channel, Carolina Weather Group, and on our nonstop Carolina Weather Net. And so we just kind of wanted to let you all join us here for the next few moments as we take a look around before returning coverage over to YouTube. But we've got the radar right now up in the triangle area where we're watching a wind and a hail threat. We just had reports of hail come on through portions of Hillsborough and Mabin. We saw hail being reported the size of half dollar-size coin, but that's really about 1.25 inches. Some of the largest hail reports that we saw came right on in through that I-85 corridor. We're still watching for a little bit of a hail threat associated with a severe thunderstorm that is just on the northern half of Durham and Durham County and crossing 85. But really what we've been watching with this storm is this wind threat. We were looking at winds about 50, 55 miles an hour or so as detected by the terminal Doppler radar. And again, if we look at the hail threat associated with that storm, it's not impossible that we couldn't see maybe even a little hail right now in downtown Durham, but we had some pea-sized hail north of there a little while ago. That is something to be mindful of as you're traveling, but it is significantly less hail than we saw over portions of the Hillsborough area and off to the west of there over the course of the last hour or so. Again, that's when they were seeing hail about 1 inch or larger. Putting this back on velocity right now to take a look, we just saw this polygon in the last few minutes. If you're watching on YouTube with us, get extended as far east as the city of Wake Forest, and here is 540 in the north side of Raleigh. But really what I'm watching for is the threat that, yes, we've got this storm, and it's got winds like this. Then we got this other storm that's coming up Raleigh from your south and from your west. And so radar estimated winds right now coming out of Pittsburgh, and they're going to be rolling into the city of Cary, city of Apex, even towards NC State in the next few minutes. Radar estimated winds about 50 miles an hour. We were seeing that pushing near 60 just a few moments before we came on to join you all on Facebook. So again, the National Weather Service has not extended this warning yet, but I think it's possible that if these winds hold together, especially if we've got an outflow boundary here and an outflow boundary here, that we could end up seeing storm developments potentially severe moving over Cary and Raleigh in the next few moments. So that would be the chance of seeing damaging winds 60 mile per hour. And again, that hail threat has been the name of the game throughout much of the day, and radar is still trying to put some hail back over portions of, say, the Pittsburgh area along US 64, even down towards US 1, moving off to the east. So we'll watch for the possibility that we could be looking at a severe thunderstorm threat, or at least a strong thunderstorm coming into Cary, Raleigh, NC State here in the next little bit. We do have one other warning in this area. It is along the Virginia line, kind of in that greater Danville, Virginia area. This does continue until 6 o'clock as well. We did have a new severe thunderstorm warning that got issued just a few moments ago. We've had Joey watching on YouTube with us. He was watching from Hamlet, and sure enough, we do now have a severe thunderstorm coming out of portions of Anson County. This is for the city of Wadesboro along US 74 down into portions of Rockingham and Hamlet that now will go until about 6:30, and this is for what has been the name of the game today, damaging wind and hail threat. This is a bit of a radar hole out here, so it's really kind of hard to see. Yes, I just put velocity on. Yes, we have a little green and a little red, but tornadoes is not really the main threat today, and with the distance from the radar, I'm not really overly concerned about that right now. But what I was trying to get a grasp on is what the hail threat is, and again, the radar data for this area is so high and so poor because of our radar hole. But I wouldn't be surprised coming out of Chesterfield, South Carolina, coming into portions of Anson County. We have this severe thunderstorm warning for a reason, as they're continuing to track this storm for Anson County and Richmond County, capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts and quarter-size hail coming through here in the next little bit. Widening on out, you can see right now, that's what we've got to work with. We do have a severe thunderstorm watch box that does continue until 9 o'clock tonight. We're seeing a few more showers trying to get going across Upstate area, Boone, Blowing Rock, that could potentially push back along the northern portions of North Carolina as we go on through the evening hours. We did manage to get severe thunderstorm warnings for portions of York County, South Carolina, Union County, North Carolina, a little bit earlier. We again are seeing another shower thunderstorm trying to get going right now over the city of Rock Hill. So what does that mean? Well, what we're watching for with some of these areas is whether or not a second line of storms could come on through. Again, we're not really worried about the possibility of tornadoes, and I'll show you why in a moment, but we're waiting to see whether or not we're going to get additional storms rolling on through. We are also working on being joined momentarily by Dan Whitaker, who has been out storm chasing, and this is perfect timing as we're bringing all of the platforms of the Carolina Weather Group in. Bear with me for just a second, Dan, because what I want to show folks is kind of that outlook for the remainder of tonight. The Storm Prediction Center has so much of the Carolinas, at least in a marginal threat, a tier 1 out of 5 in the dark green for the chance of seeing storms. The slight risk, tier 2 out of 5 in yellow, is really for that I-40 corridor to the north. So we'll keep a close eye on that as we go on through the overnight hours. You'll see that the threat for tornado is not 0, but the biggest threat is a 2% chance of seeing a tornado that's right in that slight risk area. That is Boone, Blowing Rock, even down as far south as portions of Iredell County, the Triad, and the Triangle. But it's the wind threat. You can see up to 15% at times, or the hail threat up to 15% at times. That is where a lot of the concern with the potential for severe weather will be as we go on through the remainder of the overnight hours. We'll get out to Dan Whitaker in just one more moment. I want to show folks who are watching live with us right now what the Futurecast, what the latest HRRR model run shows, so you can kind of see visually what the threat is as we go on through the rest of the overnight hours. You can see right now, starting with what is essentially the current model run, we do have some of those storms across portions of the Triad and the Triangle, even down towards the Hamlet area. And then you can see a couple more discrete cells trying to get going back across portions of the higher elevation North Carolina I-40 corridor. And that's what we are beginning to see kind of start to get going. So there is a chance that we could have a second line of storms as we go on through the overnight hours, hence the severe thunderstorm watch box continuing until 9 o'clock tonight. We have been streaming throughout the afternoon on our YouTube channel, Carolina Weather Group. We thank everybody who's been joining us over there. In just a moment, I'm working on the connection right now. We have Dan Whitaker, Carolina Weather Group Storm Chaser, out and about. He's going to tell us what he's been seeing, what he's been hearing, where he is. Dan, give me a second as I punch all of the buttons to make that happen. As we are right now streaming across multiple platforms of the Carolina Weather Group. It'll be good to have your perspective and to be talking with you here as I pin your Zoom video up so we can see it nice and big on the screen. All right. Dan, James and Charlotte,
James.
Where are you? I think we got you. We have a low bandwidth. Your video is on the smaller side, but that's okay. Where are you? What have you been seeing?
I'm just northeast of Reidsville right now, in the northern part of the North Carolina Piedmont. And as you can see right here, I am kind of underneath some turbulent looking clouds. This is actually underside of a shelf cloud. There's a big storm core off to my left. There's a deep core developing kind of just in front of me that looks like it's putting down some hail. So that's where I'm heading right now. Here we go. Here's a better shot of the core that I'm heading towards. So basically there's part of this cluster up here in the northern Piedmont is has had its moments of strengthening and weakening and changing off its most dominant cells for others. But near the front of the cluster there, off near Yanceyville, is a pretty strong cell right now. And that's my overall goal, is to kind of check out what these cells are doing, stay with them as we kind of continue through some of the best last portions of the day to see things with our eyeballs before it turns too dark. So as you can see, it's a little bit grayish looking forward here now. That's actually the rain in the core of the storm that we're looking at, which is the current direction I'm driving towards. So chances are what we can expect to see soon from this particular storm is a lot of heavy rain and hopefully some hail if we play our cards right.
Dan, a lot of good perspective there. Can you let our audience know one more time, where are you currently?
I am just northeast of Reidsville, east-northeast of Reidsville. So, and heading towards Yanceyville on 158.
All right. So we're going to go ahead and get you pinpointed here on our map. What's some of the largest hail? We saw storm reports, I should tell you, coming in today near that like Hillsborough area of 1.25 inches. How close have you guys been able to get?
How close am I to what?
I said, how close have you guys been able to get some of these hail reports that have been coming in?
Kind of close, but some of the bigger storms that we were aiming for dissipated before we were able to get there. So there has been a little bit of strengthening and weakening and kind of changing of updrafts. It's made it a little bit harder to chase an individual storm. And what we keep kind of seeing is there's a rapid strengthening that occurs with some of these cells where they're putting down their hail and then kind of pittering out soon after.
We got Reidsville up here on the map for you. You got that severe thunderstorm that you were just talking about going another 13 minutes to the north and to the east there. And as we show our viewers what the radar out of Roanoke thinks it's detecting here, sure enough, you do have that hail potential off to the northeast of Reidsville. How much further out, how much longer do you think until you get near this hail core?
I would say, honestly, what could be hail here, I'm probably about maybe a minute, 2 minutes out from. The stronger hail core, maybe 20 minutes.
All right. Well, obviously
so we should be able to see here soon.
Yeah, we'll stick with you. We'll see what you come across in the next few moments. Dan Whitaker live with us in some of the most northern sections of North Carolina here, not far from Virginia, relatively speaking. As you're just joining us, I'm James Brierton in Charlotte. We're watching a couple different things right now. We're watching severe thunderstorm warning that has now also been extended, as we speculated, for portions of Raleigh, for portions of Cary, Apex, NC State. You have Doppler estimated winds right now of about 50 miles an hour or so. This is moving off to your east. Durham, you're just about done with a wall of wind that came on through, and it's Raleigh now that's going to be the name of the game. We also have a new area getting in on this, and we will see it, I think, on the screen momentarily. But if I'm not mistaken, the National Weather Service out of Charleston has gone ahead and issued a severe thunderstorm warning for some of the activity they're seeing. And I'm going to guess it's going to be this guy down here near Williams. But we'll come back to them in a moment once it has time to populate into our system. Joey, if you're watching on YouTube, as you have been, again, we also are watching that severe thunderstorm warning for portions of Anson and Richmond County that continues for the next little bit. We'll get back out to Dan Whitaker as soon as his bandwidth returns. As you're watching live severe weather coverage, we don't have any tornado warnings to tell you about in the Carolinas, but what we do have is these severe thunderstorm warnings capable of and have been producing damaging wind and hail. We have some cameras in the Raleigh area. We'll show those to you here as we're watching right now this severe thunderstorm capable of producing damaging wind and producing damaging hail. Moving into the Raleigh area, you can see this view from NC State, courtesy of WeatherStam. Clouds rolling in from the right-hand side there. A great-looking view of this storm that is going to be coming right on over this camera in the next little bit. Another view from WeatherStam at the same location from the stadium there. You can see those clouds rolling on in. We should be able to see some of the heavy rain, wind, and lightning making its way towards that camera in the next few minutes. James Brierton with Dan Whitaker on the line. Dan is heading towards right now some severe weather up outside of Yanceyville, coming from the Reedsville direction, and he's hoping to intercept some hail. We are waiting for his Zoom connection to be restored. As you can imagine, there's not a ton of connection up this way, and so as soon as Dan is back, we'll get you back up there to see whether or not Dan's been able to find. He was kind of leaving Reedsville, coming up this way, kind of straddling between Yanceyville and south of Danville, Virginia. The severe thunderstorm warning there, capable of producing damaging wind and hail. Thanks to Jane, who's watching on YouTube, telling us we're doing a great job. We appreciate that. We appreciate anybody who's able to share our coverage tonight on YouTube with anyone who might be in Durham, Raleigh, wherever it may be. Just let them know. Tune in. Again, we don't have any tornadoes to tell you about, but wind is wind, and that's what has prompted us to come on here and start doing some streaming coverage for you, because we're certainly getting hail reports in, and as we're coming into some populated areas here, watching this wind threat kind of roll on through right now in Apex. I would be surprised if we weren't hearing that the wind is picking up in Apex near 40 miles an hour or so. And this is going to be coming into Cary and NC State in the next little bit. This is actually a storm that has been holding together fairly well ever since it was out further to the south and to the east. We were watching it as it was moving off to the north and the east here. So it started off here to the west and now has made it all the way up into portions of the triangle. So stretching from Durham down through Raleigh, we got two adjacent polygons right now for the severe thunderstorm warning. This one up here that Dan is chasing, waiting for his connection to be restored on Zoom so we can take you back out there. We have this one in Rockingham and Hamlet coming out of Wadesboro. And then where is that Charleston storm? Yep, there it is. I thought I saw a notification out of the corner of my eye for the National Weather Service out of Charleston, and sure enough, we sure did. We got a little one here near what looks like Smocks or Williams, just south of Branchville. So this is going to be a thunderstorm yet again capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour wind gust or quarter-size hail. That is now the furthest severe thunderstorm warning we've had all day. Previously, that record was being held by a storm in York County and Chester County outside the greater Charlotte area. We're again watching. We've had a couple people ask whether or not there's going to be a round two. The HRR model run does try to get another line of storms training back over the same area right now. We do see at least one storm trying to get going out of Upstate. We'll have to wait to see if we get a couple more to make it a trend or not, to see if it holds on through the 9 p.m. time of a severe thunderstorm watch box that's on the screen right here, right now in front of you. We're also waiting to get additional storm reports in from the Raleigh area, the city of Cary. Sure enough, we'll have plenty of people in this area, and that'll be good for verifying storm reports to find out whether or not the winds that we see on radar are in fact verifying. We're getting a lot of verification today of the wind threat, a lot of verification of the hail threat, thanks to everyone who's been using the MPing app or NCWX, hashtag SCWX, to let the Weather Service know what it is they are seeing, because the Weather Service is going to use radar to issue storms, and then your eyes and ears on the ground are hugely helpful to let them know what's going on. That ground truth is very, very valuable. I'm going to bring a couple more Facebook pages in here at 6:07. Pause for a moment and let some of those additional Facebook pages join us. I'm James Brierton. It's 6:08, Sunday, May 11th, 2022. We have no tornado warnings. I want to say that right off the bat. No tornado warnings across the Carolinas right now. But what we do have are a few severe thunderstorm warnings capable of producing damaging wind and hail, and they have been doing that as we've gone through the afternoon with live coverage on the Carolina Weather Group YouTube channel, saying hello to so many of you right now on Facebook across the broader reaching pages of the Carolina Weather Group network. Hello to you. All of those little circles on your screen, these are verified hail reports. And you can see the storms throughout the day have been able to produce hail as far south as portions of York County in South Carolina, a little bit further south than where the Weather Service has its severe thunderstorm watch box up until 9 o'clock tonight. So we have one line of storms that has been working its way east over the last few hours. It's producing the threat of wind and hail right now in the Yanceyville, Danville area. Really, what we're watching right now is over portions of Durham, NC State, Cary, we have severe thunderstorm warnings right now of 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail possible. When I say quarter-size hail, I mean 1-inch size hail the size of a quarter. If you're watching from Rockingham, from Hamlet, you've got a severe thunderstorm warning right now over US 74, Interstate 73, and National Weather Service in Charleston setting what has now become our furthest south severe thunderstorm warning of the day in the Carolinas. And you can see it right on here, including portions of I-95 for the possibility of 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail. This is by far the furthest south we've seen. Everything else, again, has been more or less near where that watch box is. That's along the I-40 corridor. But you can see we're probably getting some hail. We'll wait to see if we get any verification of this hail for this storm right here that goes until 7 o'clock for portions of Collette County. All right. Hello to all of you watching on Jared Smith's Charleston weather page. What I want to show folks right now as we make our way back up towards Raleigh is we've got the potential for hail, the potential for damaging wind, moving on into, again, Apex, City of Cary, NC State, and we're very fortunate to have a camera network out here that we can utilize to view whether or not these radar estimated winds of 44, 48, 50 mile per hour are beginning to actually reach the ground and impact folks on the ground. It's that ground truth that we've talked about so much. So let's go now to this WeatherStem camera we've got for you from WeatherStem NC State. You can start to see the clouds rolling on in here on the right-hand side of your screen, and we're going to watch this camera over the next few moments to see what the storm is able to do. We've got a higher vantage point here from the stadium, Carter Finley Stadium, and we'll watch this severe thunderstorm continue to roll on in. Well, we'll let you know because it's thunderstorms. It's the name of the game today for the damaging wind and damaging hail threat, but we're getting lots of lightning across portions of the Carolinas associated with these scattered storms. And lightning by no means is any sort of criteria for the Weather Service when it comes to a severe thunderstorm warning. So if you have plans outdoors today, you hear thunder, you see lightning, go inside. Don't wait for that warning. A warning is never going to come for intense amount of lightning. Warnings are only going to come about for that damaging wind threat or that damaging hail threat. Where is it that we can expect that to happen? It's right here. Here's the Storm Prediction Center outlook. You can see the tier 2 out of 5 in yellow. SLGT stands for slight. The biggest threat for severe weather as we go on through the remainder of today is along that North Carolina and Virginia line. The darker green is a marginal risk, tier 1 out of 5. You can see that includes a lot other portions of the Carolinas except the coastal areas where the threat will kind of roll on through tomorrow but is expected to be a bit weaker. How does this translate to the different forms of severe weather? Where there's your tornado risk, 2% chance, and again, that's for North Carolina and Virginia, that I-40 corridor. The wind threat, 15% chance, a little bit higher. Again, that does include portions of, say, Boone, Blowing Rock, I-40, maybe as far south as Iredell County, but the Triangle and the Triad are definitely part of that wind and the hail threat that are nearly identical. You probably didn't even tell, or it's hard to tell, as I flipped between the wind and the hail threat as we go on through the remainder of tonight. So that's what equates to that slight risk threat. For tomorrow, just kind of run-of-the-mill general thunderstorms across the Carolinas, not necessarily expecting as much severe weather as we have been seeing. But this has been a day where severe thunderstorm warnings have been the name of the game. They have been verifying, and that's why we've popped on here to the many networks of the Carolina Weather Group to let you know as this severe thunderstorm capable of producing damaging wind and hail moves into a populated area like the Triangle. We want to make sure you're practicing weather safety. And we'll wait to see. I think this top polygon is about to fall on off. We did get pea-sized hail associated with this. This storm up here, let me put the rain back on so you can kind of see where the thunderstorms are. The rain has moved out of much of Durham, and when this storm here, this one I'm talking about, was over portions of 85, we did get hail reports of an inch or an inch and a quarter size that prompted the initial warning of this as it came out of the Triad. But now we're watching as this top polygon is about to disappear. That should disappear. The Weather Service, I think, has canceled that one, if I'm not mistaken. It is this storm now over the city of Raleigh, or will be over the city of Raleigh in the next few minutes, that we anticipate seeing that damaging wind and that damaging hail threat kind of move on in. So you can see right now radar estimates that our worst hail threat is going to come into Holly Springs here in the next few minutes, but it's that wind threat that's even broader than that, that is going to kind of stretch all along from Cary through Apex and Holly Springs and move on through NC State and towards the city of Raleigh in the next few minutes. We're going to stay with you here on Facebook until that's over before returning coverage over to the Carolina Weather Net with streams on YouTube. But we did want to kind of know that we would reach more people if we brought in our Facebook pages here and let everybody kind of know what's going on in the name of the game as we're watching severe weather on this Sunday across the platforms of the severe weather group from the Carolina Weather Group. You can use the comments to let us know what it is you are seeing. I'm seeing comments for folks who are watching on the Carolina Weather Group Facebook, watching on the Carolina Weather Group YouTube. If you're watching on Jared Smith, Scotty Powell, Evan Fisher, or the Charleston weather page, please do engage. Let those guys know that you love them. I can't actually see those comments inside of our streaming software, so if you're asking me a question there, I do apologize. I'm not looking at those right now, but we do appreciate you watching this simulcasted coverage from the Carolina Weather Group on those pages. We appreciate you being with us. And a reminder, you can find us anytime for weather coverage streaming non-stop on the Carolina Weather Group YouTube. Just check out our Carolina Weather Net. It streams for free any place that you can watch YouTube, from your phone to your smart TV. You can watch real-time weather conditions, live alerts scrolling at the bottom of the screen that you can see right now. When we're not in severe weather coverage, you can watch the best of our weekly show. But here we are doing severe weather coverage. We're going to stay with you a few minutes longer here on all of our platforms because I know I want to see what's going to be on this WeatherStem camera, and you probably want to see it as well too. So we're going to stay with you for a few more minutes, and then we're going to probably take a break. But let's go back out now to Raleigh, where you can see the skies are darkening here at NC State, courtesy of WeatherStem. This is a severe thunderstorm capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour winds and quarter-size hail, slowly beginning to move across portions of the campus. You can see things that are dark here. You can see them from the stadium as well. We actually have 3 different perspectives that WeatherStem provides us of the NC State campus, and that is something we're very, very grateful for. And I'm almost forgetting that the school has their own camera as well. So we actually have 4 different cameras stretched across this area, and we're beginning to see some of the rain move on through now. You can start to see, especially when you look at the foreground, you look at the trees, it's obviously going to get a little bit heavier in the next few minutes. The severe thunderstorm is not quite there yet. Those cameras are still back off over here. You can see the heaviest of rain. The radar anticipated, the radar detected 40-mile-per-hour rain right now coming into portions of Cary. This is about, what is that, 7 miles from our cameras at NC State, but I would expect the rain to kind of get there first. Let's look at the rain. Here comes the rain. You can see it coming out of Morrisville. You can see it coming through the city of Cary, probably right now in Apex. We got lightning and thunder back on through here. Again, this is just a severe thunderstorm warning, but we've been seeing thunderstorms throughout the day capable of producing damaging wind and damaging hail, and actually verifying. So you're verifying reports that you send to the Weather Service via NCWX or SCWX hashtags on Twitter or the MPing app. Certainly helpful for them, certainly helpful for us as well. Let's take a look at where we think the hail is right now. The hail core itself is still back over here. I think it's going to be Holly Springs that has the potential of seeing hail and maybe even moving into Holly Springs now, because this radar image is about 10 minutes old. And so we will wait to see. I don't necessarily anticipate that we're going to see hail on our cameras, but I do think we're going to get real windy. And we saw that in Rock Hill earlier with another WeatherStem camera in the city of Rock Hill, York County, south of Charlotte. That was impressive earlier, and now I'm waiting to see if it's going to repeat itself here. We have a great pleasure of having the radar right here. So the radar is only 500 feet above the ground, as it's less than 15-20 miles away, and that gives us a really good perspective. The wind is pretty broad here. And we'll watch for this to kind of move on through. Again, the National Weather Service issuing this warning for Harnett, Lee, Wake, Johnston, and Chatham counties until 6:45. That would include portions of Raleigh, Cary, Garner, Holly Springs, Apex, Mooresville, Knightsville, and Lake Wheeler. So especially if you know somebody who's maybe out on a lake, give them a call, send them a link, let them know that this storm is rolling on through, moving towards them. And we're going to watch to see, wow, take a look at this. You can see the leading edge of the storm right now on the WeatherStem camera from NC State. This is a live picture right now. I think that was even a little lightning we just saw on the screen there. So, again, thanks to everybody who's been watching with us throughout the afternoon on YouTube, seeing scenes just like this one. Now you're seeing it on our Facebook page as well, as we're watching for this to roll on through the city of Raleigh and the campus of NC State. You can see that leading edge of the storm there. Fairly impressive, and we're so glad that this camera is in this position so we can go ahead and show that to you as we're continuing our weather coverage here. We'll broaden out on our radar for just a moment, let you know what other storms we have. The one that our storm chaser Dan Whitaker was on has really just kind of been pushed on back here. This is real close to Danville, Virginia, but Reedsville and Yanceyville are no longer in the warning. We just have this little severe thunderstorm warning that will continue for the next 30 minutes or so for the capability of producing 60-mile-per-hour winds or quarter-size hail. And I know Dan was trying to get over there, trying to play catch-up. We'll see if he's able to get there at times. We heard him on our YouTube coverage just a few minutes ago. He was coming out of Reedsville, trying to intercept this storm, kind of coming up behind it. And we'll check back in with him later on and let him know what's going on. If you're watching again from Richmond County, the city of Hamlet, Rockingham, Wadesboro, you have a severe thunderstorm warning right now. And we have one other little cell all out by itself, which is what prompted us to bring in Jared Smith's Charleston weather page. Hello. As we're watching this guy right out here for the possibility of producing, we saw some hail when we looked at radar before. It's a little bit less than it was before. And it's more or less almost stationary, it feels like. It feels like it has not moved. But maybe that's just a little optical illusion because, well, yeah, what happened here is, did you see that? So this storm came in this way. Another storm came in this way, and where they intercepted is bam, where we got the severe thunderstorm warning because that was able to get us enough lift into the atmosphere to get us that hail. Because in order to get hail, you need to have a thunderstorm capable of being tall enough to reach into the coldest parts of the atmosphere, crystallize some of those ice balls, and then, of course, bring them back on down. So we're watching right now as this storm begins, severe thunderstorm begins to move into portions of Raleigh, NC State, city of Cary. Here's a live look again from Raleigh. I know this is what you guys have come here to see, and this is what I'm watching as well, as the leading edge of this storm is right now marching in from the right side of our screen. You can see it there courtesy of WeatherStem, as we're watching for this severe thunderstorm to move on in. Certainly a good time on campus, head indoors, wherever that may be. And because in addition to that threat of wind and rain, lightning is, again, another threat that we have to keep a close eye on. And we can see folks still out and about right now. And hopefully they'll be getting to some shelter here shortly, because I'm worried about the wind, I'm worried about the hail, but I'm worried about that lightning as folks still milling about on campus here, NC State in Raleigh. Let's show you radar so you can see exactly what's happening in the next few moments. You can see as the radar continues to play out, the heaviest of rain moving through right now, Cary, Apex, Holly Springs. We're expecting it to move closer to that Raleigh camera. This is a severe thunderstorm warning. That means it's a thunderstorm capable of producing 60-mile-per-hour winds, quarter-size hail. We haven't seen anything all day that really was threatening when it came to rotation. The tornado threat, as I talked about a few moments ago, is 2%. It's fairly low across much of the Carolinas. It's that North Carolina-Virginia line if we were to see anything, and we're not seeing anything here in Raleigh right now either, so that's good news. Yes, the thunderstorm does have an updraft and a downdraft, but we're not seeing any sort of rotation on radar, and that is good news. But wind is wind, so wow, take a look at this right now, live from NC State's Carter Finley Stadium WeatherStem camera. You can see the leading edge of that thunderstorm on the left-hand side of your screen over the PNC Arena there, and you can just take a look at the difference, right? The right side versus the left side. You can see this is marching in. This thunderstorm capable of producing hail. We are getting hail reports now back over portions of Holly Spring. Pea-size hail that is going to be moving into this area in the next few moments. This storm is moving off to the east at 35 miles an hour, and you can actually see that motion on this camera right now. You can see this is, if you watch carefully, that storm front, you can actually see it moving. This is not a time lapse. This is second by second. The wind is picking up. This is a severe thunderstorm. And look straight ahead. Look right by those cranes. You can almost see right where the winds are kicking up. Right there, right in the middle of your screen. Take a look at that, what looks to be maybe dust, something from the leading edge of this severe thunderstorm warning outflow. Well, we got cranes. You guys may know campus better than me, but if there's a construction site with lots of loose dirt, that outflow boundary definitely could have been kicking up that dirt there, and I think the camera picked it up. Radar estimated winds right now, I'm looking at off the side of my screen, at least 30 miles an hour associated with this leading edge of the storm coming over portions of NC State. Back further to the south and to the west near Holly Springs, other portions of this same storm, we're looking more at 50, 60 mile per hour winds. So again, at least 30 mile per hour radar detected winds right now over portions of NC State. Here's a look at that same storm. You can see it creeping over campus, but I think it's the stadium cam. I think it's the stadium cam that's going to give us the perspective that we came here to see. And you can starting to see that camera bounce around a little bit. Of course, the folks at WeatherStat didn't just put up cameras, they did put up weather stations. So let me bounce on over to take a look at what the radar site is detecting. I said radar site. What the WeatherStem site is detecting, and we can get a better idea of what some of these winds are associated with this severe thunderstorm warning right now over the campus of NC State. You know somebody who works there, you know some students, give them a text, send them the link to our YouTube, let them know we are watching right now this severe thunderstorm rolling over campus. So many of these WeatherStem cameras are capturing this right now. We got 5 or 6 of them, if I'm not mistaken. The temperature right now, 76 degrees. We'll wait to see if that cools on down as the storm rolls on through. With lightning, according to WeatherStem, at least 3 miles away, if not closer, with winds gusting at 34 miles an hour. 34 miles an hour is what this camera is picking up, and that matches with what we were seeing on radar. And so this is really at least a strong thunderstorm. Again, the Weather Service has put it in a severe polygon as we're watching other portions of this storm that are also producing damaging wind potential, right? So if I pop back over to radar for just a moment, this is the stadium. This is where we were just looking, but look further off to the south and to the west near Holly Springs. That's where we're getting the reports of pea-size hail. That's where the radar estimated winds right now are closer to 50 or 60 miles an hour. If we put this radar into motion, we can begin to see the motion of the storm. You can see this leading edge as it moves off to the east. This storm more or less is hanging due east. So if we do have the strongest part of the storm over Holly Springs, where we're getting reports of that hail and that wind, it's going to stay south of the school. It's going to move off towards the east, towards our radar site and towards Clanton. But again, our cameras are here. But what is probably the strongest part of the storm is really over Holly Springs, with radar estimated winds pushing towards 60 miles an hour. And let's see, sure enough, there is a radar detected hail core associated with Holly Springs further off to the south of where our cameras are. This whole area, though, is all under that severe thunderstorm warning as we are continuing to watch this strong storm come over the capital region of the state of North Carolina. Let's get you back out now to some of these cameras, show you what exactly we are seeing here at the bell tower. You can see the clouds moving in. You can see the winds picking up. The pedestrians have moved out of view. That is good news. Happy to see that the folks have moved out of view there, as they are not only going to be getting wet, but watching this rain with lightning move on through is certainly dangerous. We'll go back over to some of our WeatherStem cameras. You can see how dark it's getting over here across portions of campus, and you can see very rainy now over Carter Finley Stadium. Thanks again to WeatherStem, who's been providing us throughout the day with excellent views of the storm. You just saw a lightning bolt there as the rain is now coming across portions of the stadium and portions of the campus. We will continue to keep an eye on this for the next few minutes. You can always, again, find streaming weather coverage on YouTube. Just search Carolina Weather Group. You can find us wherever it is you watch YouTube, from your phone to your smart TV. Getting real dark here over portions of NC State as we're continuing to watch this severe thunderstorm warning. Again, it is considered severe where our cameras are located, but I really think the worst of the storm is a little bit further south over portions of Holly Springs. Zooming out for a moment, just seeing what else is going on. We do still have one other storm that goes for another 16 minutes. This is for just outside of Yanceyville. This is coming towards Roxborough, Milton here. Relatively small polygon compared to some of the others we've been working with. Also in city of Rockingham, Hamlet right now, all along the US 74 corridor, we have a severe thunderstorm warning. And then we have one more down here that is holding out for us a little bit further to the south, or really way further to the south. We have the severe thunderstorm watch box. Storms capable of producing damaging wind and hail until 9 o'clock tonight. Switching on over to our Roanoke radar, really what we see right now is just this one little shower that has moved out of the Boone and Blowing Rock area. We'll wait to see whether or not more can get their act together, but other than that, it's relatively quiet back along the I-77 corridor and to the west. So we're going to wait to see if we get any more storms kind of kicking up. We are probably getting a pretty good light show right now, again, across portions of Anson County. This is at least your second one, if I'm not mistaken. Strong thunderstorm right now over Wadesboro. Again, it's the city of Raleigh, where the most people are located right now underneath a polygon, primarily for what is a wind threat in the city of Raleigh, but also a hail threat across portions of Holly Springs. Weather Service allowing the Anson County and Richmond storm right now to be canceled. So that one I showed you a little bit further south of here near the city of Hamlet, that has been discontinued. Live look right now from Weather Stammer shows the conditions closer to the city of Raleigh, where we had a pretty impressive flow moving in. Colleton County in South Carolina, you are also in the clear. So that was that one polygon way off to the south. Just seeing that out of the corner of my screen now. That has also been allowed to expire. So really, the only thing that's going on is the Raleigh storm right now, which really it is raining, it is windy in the city of Raleigh and NC State, but I think right now if I had to pick a spot in all of the Carolinas that was getting the most rain, the most wind, the most lightning, the most hail, it's Holly Springs, North Carolina. And that's going to continue here for the next little bit. So here's what you can expect from us at the Carolina Weather Group as we go on through the rest of the evening. We have our Carolina Weather Net streaming on our YouTube channel. Just search Carolina Weather Group. It's actually linked in the description of whatever you are watching right now. And that will take you on over to our nonstop. So even when I'm not live, when I'm not sitting here, when I'm not looking at radar with you, you can watch real-time warnings, live radar, all those conditions alongside the best of our weekly show streaming on the Carolina Weather Net. It's free. You can stream it wherever you watch YouTube. And then we'll be along with updates as conditions warrant. We'll be back on all of our platforms if and when there happens to be a tornado warning. Again, the chance of seeing a tornado, 2%, and it's primarily along the Virginia-North Carolina border. It's that chance of seeing severe thunderstorms, as we have been throughout much of the Carolinas, that has been producing the chance of seeing damaging hail or wind. Right now, the biggest focus being back here across the city of Raleigh, where this storm is producing heavy rain. But, I mean, our ground shots, our radar shots showing us that maybe NC State and the city of Raleigh itself will be largely spared, because I think the worst of this storm, again, is further to the south, where we don't have a view to show you, but I think it's going to be right on in here in Holly Springs, where radar estimated winds right now are still closer to 40 miles an hour, a little bit lower than they were before, and that wind threat, or excuse me, that hail threat has come on down too. We're no longer seeing any clusters of white on the radar, and that's good news. So we're going to take a quick break. We're going to let our Facebook pages power down. If you're watching the Carolina Weather Net on YouTube, you're going to join regular scheduled programming, which again will show you real-time weather conditions. Continuous alerts are on the bottom of the screen, and the best of our weekly show, the Carolina Weather Group. And then I'll be back with updates as conditions warrant. But right now we do have that warning for the city of Raleigh, but as you can see on this camera, things are not too bad where this camera's located. If you've got a different perspective, a different view, drop us a comment. Let us know what you are seeing. Or if you know anybody in the city of Raleigh, do send them a text, send them a link, let them know. We're keeping a close eye on it. We have a severe thunderstorm watch for portions of the I-40 corridor in North Carolina until 9 o'clock tonight. That's going to do it for us on Facebook, on YouTube. That's going to do it for us on Facebook, Twitch, and if you're watching on YouTube, stay tuned. We'll get you back over to regular scheduled programming in just a moment.